Alright, live time. No warning, as usual. No pre planning. Just raw, live energy. Listening back to see if it's working. It sounds like it's working. Gotta put out the banners, light the fire signals like in Lord of the Rings or whatever. Fucking Justice League. And I'm gonna sing while I wait for people to show up, as I usually do. This time I'm gonna do "World of Lions" by Coheed and Cambria because it's in my head. But first, I gotta process. I just slammed an empanada. There's these frozen empanadas you can get at Costco in like an 8-pack, and I've been eating one of those like every single day for more than a month. They're so fucking good. If you like frozen food, I gotta stop shaking. I'm shaking the whole fucking monitor. If you like frozen food, that can be air fried quickly in 15 minutes, get yourself some of those Costco empanadas. I guess you have to have a Costco membership also, but all right, nobody's here yet, so let's go ahead and sing "World of Lions." This is the hidden truth, the world between the lines. Oh, there is no understanding us. These lines have marked divisions the meager seek to align. With this looming precious ending, there's no more room for reprimanding. Oh, the words are tightly thrown in a world that's caught in a writer's web. Humiliation reigns, just leave us alone. If it's not worth the letting go, it's trouble, whoa, whoa. Just leave us alone. If it's not worth the letting go, it's trouble, whoa, whoa. Communications breaking up, the static cutting the lines. This lying liar's had his turn. You've managed nothing more than a pathetic attempt at attack. But this heart is everlasting, pushing forward, never crashing. Just leave us alone if it's not worth the letting go. It's trouble, whoa, whoa. Just leave us alone if it's not worth the letting go. It's trouble, whoa, 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 whoa. State your case and go hide. Leave us to your worst. I will never give in to the hurt of your lies. 'Cause there is no hope for all your jokes in your blagging insecurity. And now I'll play your enemy, the only word you could find for me. Just leave us. Voice cracked a bit there. Alone if it's not worth the letting go. It's trouble, whoa, whoa. Just in this world of lines, the strong will decide. It's trouble, whoa, whoa. Hello, August Wolfs. Hello, I just sat down to work. Well, what are you working on? Sawdust Creator said working on being employed and then working on this corncob pipe of cannabis. Hey, getting high, getting high, smoking blunts. I don't do that no more myself, but, it sounds like a good time. Working on being employed. That sounds tough. Couldn't be me. Nisa draws. Yo, I was chilling in an art server and drawing. Met some cool professional peeps in there. Fuck yeah. That sounds excellent. Everybody should subscribe to Nisa Draws because she not only draws, but she also records herself doing the drawings and sets them to cool music and puts them on her channel. And she has a super unique art style. And you could also follow her on Blue Sky. And she does a lot of artwork for me. She did all the art on the Slime Dolls channel also, the collaborative channel I have with Gigadonk, where we talk about old video games for the most part. Mostly games that are even older than Chrono when I think about it. And a lot of them are older than me, too, but Sarah Louise says, "Hello, I'ma fry some eggs. Y'all want any?" I'm good. I just slammed an empanada, so I'm good. Um, Z Cypher, I'm tired as fuck today, so not working on much besides work. Yeah. Yeah, work is so worky. It's always got its tendrils in everyone. You should also be following Z Cypher on Blue Sky because he also does amazing artwork. And you should be following Sarah Louise on Bandcamp because she does amazing music. Almost everybody in here is an incredible artist. And in fact, I believe everyone I just named is linked on my link tree, which is the only thing in the description. So this would not be hard to track everyone down. I put everybody I'm friends with who is a good artist on my link tree pretty much. So if I forgot anybody, they need to let me know. Brianna W7254 said, "Hi, I really appreciate this stream. I'd love to ask for advice on writing on Substack." Yeah, well, let me know what kind of advice you're looking for exactly, and we can work on that. August Wolf said, "I'm working on Furry Commission's best job ever." That is the best job ever. I don't know why furries seem to have more expendable income for commissions than any other type of person in the world, but it does seem like that's the crowd to go for if you're trying to make commission money. And of course, if you like drawing furries. Enigma7218 said, "Hey Trixie, I have less than 20K in the bank. Should I max out my IRA?" I don't know what an IRA is, but hold on to that money. Don't I have no idea what an IRA is, so I'm not the person to ask about this. Brody Caesar says, "Just in time for lunch. You should all subscribe to Brody's YouTube channel, which is also linked on my link tree. She's been talking about Chainsaw Man lately and about how it seems to be abruptly maybe ending. At the very least, part 2 seems to be ending all of a sudden. No idea if that means the end of the manga, but we'll find out together." Rocky the Robot Guy says, "Working on an illustration as part of an application to a game artist school. It's supposed to be in the Dishonored style, and it pisses me off because I want to paint with colors." That's funny that would be an assignment specifically to make something that looks like Dishonored. Were those games particularly successful? I know they have like a cult following, but I was kind of under the impression that they had like underperformed expectations. I didn't hear that much. Like, I remember hearing a lot about Dishonored 1 when it came out, largely because people were hyped about like what kind of game it is. I'd heard almost nothing about Dishonored 2, but I'm pretty sure you play as a girl in that one, which makes me want to play it, because I want to run around and assassinate people as a hot lady. And assassinating people is cool. I don't think you have to assassinate people in that game, but that's what I would do. Just working on my YouTubes? Hell yeah. Brody, what kind of YouTube videos do you have in mind for the near future? Kino says, "Working on that manga as always." What's the ETA on that right now? How many pages is that thing gonna be, Kino? Kino's also on my link tree. C Cypher says, "I'm on a virtual chat room game with my fellow wagies." You gotta get out of there. We gotta figure out how to break you out of there. Wagey life is not for us. It was never meant to be. Put it in high yield account. Oh yeah, buy some government fucking debt. If you're trying to keep your money and not touch it, like if you just don't want to spend that $20,000, you want it to stay existing for the next 5 years, just buy some I bonds. It's you're buying the government's debt. It's inflation guarded, I guess, like inflation proof supposedly. You collect some interest on it, and if you use it for college purposes, you get like extra. Everyone I've ever talked to about investments has told me that the safest investments are I bonds and I bills. I bills are like short-term I bonds, but like you just buy the government's debt. That is supposedly the most secure. Have I done this myself? No. So, don't take any financial advice from me. I'm probably the last person that really should be giving financial advice, but that's the only one I've heard that has ever sounded sane. For Substack, says Brianna W., how do I build an overarching appeal for my essays, find my niche? I have many interests, and I just describe my Substack as just media and cultural analysis. Well, media and cultural analysis is a niche in and of itself. I mean, if you are only doing analysis, I'd love to have such a distinct style and approach to my topics that my essays will be recognizable. A lot of that's going to come down to, I mean, you might say that you have a lot of interests, but like, say that you like anime, for instance. You don't like all anime. You like some anime. If people can tell what type of anime you like, or like specific shows, or even specific characters or creators that you like, then that will do a lot for you, So like, for instance, if I was going to start a new channel where I was like, this is going to be a film channel, I would pick a director and do all of their work, Or if I was going to do an anime channel, like what I've kind of been doing with the Trixie channel is like starting from Osamu Tezuka. This is more manga focused, but like talking about otaku culture to me is like, okay, let's start from the first otaku and then work our way forward from there, and like create this narrative between the posts so that when you watch the latest one, you feel inclined to go back and read the previous ones or watch the previous ones. Um, if you're still finding your voice, you really shouldn't be even thinking about an audience. Like, don't even worry about what's going to make you appealing to an audience if you don't know what you're doing yet. You need to figure out what you're doing first. Then you can worry about other people seeing it. Nothing is quick in the world of art. There is no quick solution. There is no, oh, if I just do this, then it's going to work. It's all about finding what works. You got to think of it like science. Yeah, like Z-Cypher said, make shit and adjust from there. And yeah, don't get stuck in the planning stage, and let your audience tell you, like if you write 10 posts that are all about totally different things, you will quickly figure out which ones people care about, so, there's no point really in limiting yourself before getting your stuff to the audience. It's more like if there's some, like, let's say that I made a video about like anime and then a video about manga and then a video about politics, and like everyone loved the politics one and nobody cared about the manga one, I would probably keep making political posts at that point, but like, it's not to say that it wouldn't be worth trying to push people to care about the manga post, but you really got to look for who is going to at that point, There's an audience for everything. You just have to put yourself in front of that audience once you've decided that that's who you're trying to appeal to, Kino said it's probably around 70 pages. So far I'm at 40 pages where the rough draft was at 46. Very clean. Was lazy a few days, and some other stuff has pushed the release to April, but it shouldn't come out later than that, barring a meteor strike. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know anything about this comic other than now how many pages done you have, so I'm curious what it is, what we're in for, Brody said index funds. Lots of places will offer a breakdown of what is the highest risk, highest reward versus lowest risk, decent reward. I would always go with the lowest risk. When it comes to investment, just go with the low risk one. Don't ever try to make fast money through investment type shit. Eggs came out heart-shaped. Today will be good. Hell yeah. Hello, Mayday from Space, another excellent comic artist whose work is linked in my link tree. Everybody's in the link tree. I've got to make a Tapas account so I can follow Mayday's comic on Tapas. I know that's been like the place to post like comics for a long time, but I've never really dove into it. But I should. Or day trade. I mean, if you want to make that a full-time career, but I doubt. You're going to be on Tapas too, Kino? Good. Yep, sounds like I got to make a Tapas account so I can follow everybody on Tapas. I'm really kind of hating this camera angle I've got myself at. My head looks like a toe. How do I fix this? How do I become less looking like a Joe Rogan toe head? Where do I need to put this? That's a pretty good angle, but there's nothing I can hold it up with. Wait, I can grab a fucking tripod for this. Okay, now I'm gonna put tripod behind desk. The angle so it's not all fucky. That's too low. Yeah. Less in my fucking face now. Although it is like way over there. I guess I should angle it more this way. Okay, that's more comfortable. So what if you are a toe? I don't want to be a toe. Not my style. I think toes are actually pretty important parts of the foot for balance, so being a toe isn't so bad. I mean, being a toe isn't bad if you are a toe, but if you are an entire body, you don't want to be reduced to just a toe. Pretty excited for the new Amazing Digital Circus episode. I'm sure that I will watch that when someone pays me to on a reaction stream at some point, since that's the only way I have been watching it. You used to read on Tapas constantly? Ooh. Yeah, again, I've pretty much only ever used it to read like Ben Saint's comic way back, so I never ended up making an account or anything. I used to read old web comics back in the 2000s, but I never really kept up with the evolution of web comics since then. Oh, you were joking about the food tapas. Indeed. I don't know if I've had tapas, actually. Let me look up what those are to be sure I know. I'm picturing something like... oh no, this isn't what I was picturing at all. Wait, is tapas just like a name for like a whole category of appetizers or something? I'm getting like whole trays of delicious looking food. Yeah, all this looks amazing. Good thing I already ate, so it can't make me hungry. Are you the only one who remembers a stray to Botaram? Probably, because I do not. Basically lost media, that is sad. Yeah, I pretty much talked about all the old web comics that I really remember on the Golden Butterflies podcast episode 4 that will come out not this next Monday, but the Monday after that, which is about early internet memories. And it's got Brody there, it's got Petrichor, it's got Gigadonk, it's got Sarah Louise, it's got Zerakiel, and me. That's all 6, right? Did I say 6 names? Brody, me, Sarah, Zerakiel, Krona, Petra. Yes, all 6 of us. We talked about our early memories of the internet, and mine go back a lot farther than anyone else's, so I ended up talking for a lot of it myself. But we went over stuff like Mega Tokyo and XKCD and Cyanide and Happiness and Sluggy Freelance, which no one else remembered but me. And well, I guess nobody else knew Mega Tokyo either, but those were like Mega Tokyo and Sluggy Freelance were like the 2 web comics that I remember being like super into for a short period, particularly Mega Tokyo. I owe a lot to Mega Tokyo because the forums are where I met the people who introduced me to the concept of currently airing anime back in early 2007. He Cypher said, I am always posting about old webcomics. Do you know any of those ones that I just named? It was the one that was like, I can't remember the fucking name of the website. I'm pretty sure the comic was called Adventurers Guild, but it was like a pixel art comic that like starts off just like a funny kind of joke of the day thing, but then eventually just gets insanely violent and plot driven. Damn, now I want to sit in the sun and eat tapas and drink sangria like an old Spanish man. That does sound delightful. We sipped at the same time. That's like sipendipity. The serendipity of sips. Tell me more about stuff you guys are working on or need advice on. I've found myself slipping less. Slipping's the wrong word. I've found myself in a more like advice and administration role in my life. Advisory is the word I was looking for. A more advisory role than a forwardly like creative role. I don't know why I turned into bed looks fucking not made at all, but I just wanted to get myself more centered on the screen. No thank you is here. What am I working on? Well, I just put out a video on isekai. Not gonna lie, that doesn't sound like something I would want to watch, but I will believe that it's great. Everybody go watch No Thank You's video on isekai if you are interested in isekai. I am so exhausted by isekai as a genre, as an idea. I knew Mega Tokyo. Sorry, I'm behind. Hell yeah. Mega Tokyo is truly my culture. I need motivation to start recording for my singer-songwriter album. Your motivation is that I want to hear it. Your motivation is that I need it in my life. Sarah Louise was part of a big, there was like a 7-hour live stream of a bunch of 20-minute sets, like live sets, like pre-recorded live sets, each with their own unique style of editing and everything, each from a different artist that were just like back-to-back playing for a charity event. And I watched like 2 hours of it, pretty much up through Sarah's performance and like the one after, which was a hilarious, the most hilarious mood whiplash I've ever experienced was Sarah's set into the set right after it. But it was like our friend Donnie Cowtools from the Golden Butterflies community. His band Cowtools had a set which was really cool. They sound like if Ween and Slint and like Swans all like jizzed in a puddle and then a jizz baby came out and started playing music. That would be Cowtools and Primus. And Butthole Surfers. If all of them jizzed in a pool and made a jizz baby, that jizz baby would be Cowtools, the band. And they were really fun. There was a whole bunch of electronic sets that went hard as fuck. I got the craziest workout of my life listening to this set. I did 55 push-ups, 55 sit-ups, 55. No. I did like 55 push-ups, 130 squats, and like 60 crunches while listening to these hard techno songs, and in between all those workouts, just like dancing crazy in my room, you know, like truly spurging out. It was a great time. And then just in time for the cool off, you know, like there was like all these hard techno sets, and then Holiday Girl, who was super sweet and like just the most pleasant, like healing atmosphere. She had really cool like shot compositions and editing for her set. And then Sarah, and Sarah's was like the most heartwarming, hopeful, life affirming, like, you know, acoustic set. And it was really fun because for the video she just had like like basically walking around outside in the Pacific Northwest, like just filming trees and stuff and like this big bright blue sky. But she was the only person who recorded her set as though it was literally a live set on stage, because she was doing like the in between songs, like chatter type stuff, you know, with like the mic reverb and everything. And it sounded like I was in a. It simultaneously felt like I was standing in front of a stage watching her perform, but also outside, you know. And it was a really interesting feeling. And then she played this song that got me really emotional, because the last lyric of it was, "When will you know your freedom like I know mine?" And I was like, that is such a fucking epic bar. I want that on a t-shirt. I want that on a bumper sticker. I want to scream that from the rooftops. When will you know your freedom like I know mine? And I said as much. I was like, oh, I got really emotional. And then Sarah was like, yeah, I wrote that song thinking about you. And I was like, and then I lost my shit. I lost my shit. I was crying through the whole next song. It was beautiful. Frank Wizza 6559. Trixie, you liked one of my comments from like 10 years ago on that random Thumbtack video and reminded me how much you provided entertainment for me and gave me something to listen to when I got home. Hell yeah. I have been, for pretty much all month, I've been just going through my... So in YouTube Studio, you have a comments tab that just lists all of your comments in chronological order. And the funny thing about the comments tab is that when you click on it, by default, it shows you stuff you have not responded to. But hitting the heart button on a comment counts as responding to it. So any comment that I have never hit hard on, any comment I have never pressed the heart button on will show up at the top of the list. And so when I go into the studio, it automatically, the first thing it shows me is like 6-year-old comments, you know, that I never responded to, because these days I respond to every single one. So what I've been doing all month is every time I go into the studio, I just scroll through the comments list and hit heart on every single comment I see indiscriminately. I don't care if it's a hater comment, a lover comment. The funniest part is hitting love on some of the hater comments, and then they come in and apologize for being that way 6 years ago. But just totally indiscriminate, heart. And at least once a day, somebody comes to a new video and says, why did you hit heart on my comment from 6 years ago? And I say, I'm just trying to bring people to the new videos. And they go, oh shit, it worked. So if you are a YouTuber who's got a ton of old comments you've never hearted, this is a great strategy for marketing, is just go hit heart on all the old comments, bring everyone back. Like in that Brand New song where he's like, was losing all my friends, but I got them back. Yeah. Yeah, that's the vibe. It's been a fun time. All right, I skipped a bunch of chat just now talking about that. Let's see. You're getting ready for a Pokemon tournament tomorrow? Nice. I've never been any good at Pokemon. Always been a fan, never been good at it. I'm wondering how to fold in some marketing for the manga as it's being worked on, or if I should just focus more on going full bore after it's out. I think that because you're not really known already for something, you might want to just work on it till it's out, and then you have it to just show people, and that's how they get to know you. Like, most manga artists don't really have like marketing before their one shot has been published, you know? Like, the one shot is the marketing for you going forward. So I would say just focus on finishing the thing and then market the living fuck out of it once it's out, you know? Make sure anybody you think would like it has read it before you move on. I want to write a web serial about a couple living in an O'Neill Island 3 style colony, but I'm reminded of a story about James Joyce writing 2 lines one day and it being more than the day before. James Joyce was crazy. I'd never heard of O'Neill Island 3. Jay and Silent Bob doomed Yowie. Doomed? I'm pretty sure they're just a gay couple. Nisa says, I also want to start making some tunes. I would love to hear that. I definitely want to know what your music's going to sound like. Brianna said, I'm also doing storytelling and life experience analysis pods. I noticed your videos about life are so captivating, and they always leave me wanting to hear more, and I aspire to that kind of public speaking skill. That's definitely the kind of thing that just comes with, like, practicing it as much as humanly possible, you know? Like, most of the places that I got my practice in did not get, like, any views, you know? Like, I did the pub crawl show for years to an audience of, like, maybe 30 people at the absolute most, you know? Typically more like 10. And even then only like 2 people ever in chat, you know? So, like, but it was hours out of every week, like 4 to 6 hours a week that we were doing pub crawl recordings. And then on top of that, at the same time, me and my brother Victor were doing the Digibros show, which that's now the Vic and Hope channel. But we would record them in batches, but I would release 2 a day. So it was 2 20-minute episodes every day for like 5 or 6 years. And so all of that was just getting tons and tons and tons of practice at telling my stories, you know, trying to appeal to an audience, figuring out what does or doesn't work and stuff. How do I work well with other people? You know, then eventually we launched the Procrastinators podcast. That went for years, you know, recording every weekend. And on top of that, just thousands of vlogs. So, like, it was a skill I was not good at. You know, like, at the start of all that, I was not good at it at all. It was just that I did so fucking much of it because I was determined to get good at it that now I'm great at it. And now I'm also kind of out of stories. Like, I kind of said everything I had to say doing all of that. So that's why I found myself, again, in more of like an advisory role, because I don't really have like a story I'm aching to tell about myself or about my interests, you know? Like, I used to feel like a big part of the impetus for doing analysis content was that I felt like nobody was watching or cared about the stuff that I cared about. And now it's almost impossible to find something that nobody cares about, you know, like, because so many people are going out of their way to find niche things to be able to talk about them on YouTube that, like, you know, it's very rare that there is something that really needs that push. And when it does, like, say, Caravan Sandwich, you know, like, I've got, in my opinion, the best analysis review of that game on the Bomber Girl Vera channel. And it's not a very popular game, and it's, you know, I didn't do that much to move the needle on that by talking about it, so I don't even feel like, oh, it was necessary for me to do it. But, you know, that's the kind of thing where I still feel like, okay, it's justified to keep reminding people about this thing because it hasn't really gotten its shine. It hasn't gotten the level of, like, attention or love that I think it deserves, or, like, really met its whole audience, if that makes sense, you know? But that is a rarity now. Like, there are so many channels even just talking about, like, indie games or, you know, indie animation. Like, it's pretty difficult to find something that needs, you know, like, an analysis video about it. If it is at that small of a level, what it really needs is a marketing advisor, you know? Like, if it's so small that nobody cares about it, it doesn't need somebody making a video about it. It needs somebody, like, telling them how to actually get the stuff out there in the first place. So that's kind of more where I'm moving towards, is, like, trying to help people who I think do deserve to be seen to get seen, you know? And not in a way that's like, oh, I'm trying to make a video, so therefore I'm going to talk about this person. Like, I want to give them the tools to actually make themselves seen, if that makes sense. All right, catching up on chat again. I'd love to see a Learn to Code series on this channel. I'm not sure which channel you're talking about. Definitely not mine, because I don't know nothing about code. Let's see. Catching up. Is Boston Market worth it for a pescatarian? The bread looks good. That is an interesting question. I've only ever been to Boston Market like twice in my whole life. I know there is one in town. ReZero is a decade-old anime. It feels older. It feels ancient. ReZero feels like it was a lifetime ago. or like a repetitive series of lifetimes ago even. But it's coming back next season, so I'm sure I'm going to start hearing about it again. I did not see the Dune 3 trailer yet. Jay and Silent Bob Doomed Yowie was the name of the music project that played right after mine during the festival. Oh, yeah. I forgot to say that immediately after Sarah's set made me like weep, you know, the first sincere tears, the first true emotion I felt in like response to media in months. Immediately after that, it went right to like the most cursed meme core fucking mashup music I've ever heard, and I just burst out laughing. It was fucking amazing. You've seen O'Neill Island 3s. They're the primary space colony in the original Gundam, but they're portrayed wrong. Interesting. I see. And yes, Sarah was one of the two people who was in pub crawl chat some of the time. I listened to pub crawl during college, not live though, just replays. And that was like late era pub crawl. Like the first few years did not have any, we didn't save any of that. It was just a internet radio show that had no record, and that is for the best. It is not something that ever needed to exist outside of the context it was recorded in. Because it was pretty much always drunken madness, you know, and like as edgy as it could have been without being, you know, like, I don't know. It was as edgy as a couple of like liberal-minded people could possibly be. The most dark woke podcast imaginable, and not the sexy kind. But yeah, the recorded version was like the we've gotten a little better and more professional at this like version of it. Sarah said, it's how I first made my presence known to be. I participated in a 1-hour song competition and was able to spin that into some album reviews on YouTube about albums she was also interested in. I did not realize that that's how we met was through... What the fuck? I didn't say Siri, you motherfucker. Also, why do you have a man's voice? Your name is Siri. Whatever. I guess that's transphobic of me to ask. Sarah, I did not remember that was how we met, was in the pub crawl. I just remember... I remember you having a YouTube channel and me seeing some of your videos and enjoying them. And then we started talking about death grips and clipping all the time. Like that's the main part I remember, was that you were like the only person I knew who was actually listening to. Well, we were both like hardcore Fantano fans. Like we were both watching all the Anthony Fantano videos and pretty much listening to everything he gave a decent score. And then yeah, we did like a project where we were recommending albums, and both of us put ourselves through listening to entirely too much music because we were trying to find like the most obscure albums that even Fantano wouldn't be talking about type shit. So yeah, we did like 2 of those. It was fun. It was a good time. No thank you says nobody cares about the stuff I care about. Niche 2000s be shoujo gay. There's a whole community for that though. You got that what is it, Amelie Doré or whatever, isn't that like her whole channel is just that stuff? Then that's like a pretty big channel. I feel like there's a lot of people talking about visual novels these days. Not my bag. You definitely won't find those people as much in my audience because I shit talk those kinds of games constantly, but I know they're out there. I know the community is out there. It feels like the number of moe otaku is as small as it's ever been. I think it's because a lot of us realized that we were just trans, and that was the appeal. Like for me, you know, I was big into moe in like 2007 when I would have been trying, like when my desire was to live as the characters in those shows were living. You know, it's like, oh, it's a bunch of cute high school girls just doing cute high school girl stuff. I want to be doing cute high school girl stuff, but I don't see myself as a cute high school girl, so I've put this pointless limitation between me and actually doing this. Instead, I'm just watching it vicariously, you know? But now I'm an adult, and I am not interested in doing anything that a high schooler wants to do or watching a fake high school, you know, like experience. Um, One day they'll make an anime that is actually relatable to me as an adult, but it hasn't happened yet. Hello, good morning, the Pi Drago. Tell me what you're working on. C Cypher says, I'm behind again. I've been enjoying Caravan Sandwich. I mostly play it to decompress at the end of the night, and that's the perfect way. It is a cozy game. Even though it's got a fairly heavy story. Like, it is very cozy gameplay-wise, and it's very friendly, but the story does go to some heavy places. So ephemeral, I would have killed to hear early pub crawl. You don't need it. Nobody needs it. Mono no Aware. I am very much looking forward to the new Ghost in the Shell coming out this summer, and in fact, I am planning to episodically blog it on Nova's anime blog. If you are not following Nova's anime blog, that is the only place that I really talk about anime, through my alter Nova, and right now she is reviewing every episode of Turn A Gundam week by week. The next episode will be out tomorrow. But she has promised to cover Ghost in the Shell episode by episode as well. I remember when you were in the DigiPhase, you did a pod with Fantano. Indeed, I actually did 2 videos with Fantano. And I used to talk to him a little bit on Twitter and stuff, but these days I literally listen to so much music of my own accord, I have no need of Fantano. Like, back then it was like I would, watch like pretty much anything he gave like a 6 or above, I would at least give a shot if it sounded like something I might enjoy. But a lot of the times with critics like Fantano, and I also feel this way about YMS when he does like his quickies and stuff, they get fixated on like certain details when they're talking about stuff that will then cause me to get fixated on those details. And if I disagree with their take, I will think about it every fucking time I listen to the album. Like, if Fantano picks one of his least, or like whatever he considers the worst track, if I think that's a good song, then every time I would hear it, I'd be like, Fantano's so wrong about this song. And like, it just kind of poisons the experience for me. It's not really his fault per se, like, it's just, it doesn't have a positive effect on the listening experience for me. And so, like, when I was looking for music recommendations and I didn't really know where to find good stuff or what is exactly my taste, it was really helpful to have Fantano, but over time it's like, well, at this point, if I'm going to like something, I'm going to find out about it. I have a lot of inroads to finding music, and I find more than enough of it, on my own. I find plenty of stuff he's not listening to also. So, like, yeah, I haven't felt the need to keep up with him in the last few years. And I also follow just way more music channels now. Like, it used to be that he was kind of the only place to come to if you wanted like a variety of like takes on a variety of styles of music. Now, there's plenty of other YouTubers who are going to go more in depth about specific subjects, and that's more of what I'm looking for. I don't really want casting the widest net. I want, somebody who's going to really analyze the specifics of it. And the last time I like watched a video of his, I think it was like the last time I watched one of his full-on reviews was the Clips album. And like, his take was fine, but it was like, I've already either heard someone else say all of these things or come to all of these conclusions myself because I'm already so plugged in to the conversation around this album. So it really didn't feel like I got anything out of it in the way that I did, way back when he was talking about Good Kid, Mad City, and like, you couldn't find another video talking about Good Kid, Mad City in depth when that album actually came out on YouTube, But now, again, like, GNX came out, and immediately I've heard 100 hours of analysis of it. So um, it's just a different kind of environment, you know. Am I going to be watching the new JoJo? Yes, I have in fact watched the first episode, and it fucks pretty hard. It was pretty great. So one of the things that I'm producing is a show called WAMBS, WAMMBS, or Weekly Anime, Manga, Music, Beer, and Snacks. And it's not a show that I'm on. I'm just helping to manage it basically. But my husband Bird and my brother Shade are doing this show together, and it's going to be a live stream show, but where the stream is cut into individual videos that will be released over the course of the next week. So basically, this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Daylight Time, not Eastern Standard Time, not that it matters, Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, Bird and Shade will go live on Shade's channel, which is MZ Shaidu, at MZ Shaidu. It's linked in my link tree as well. And they're going to talk about, this week they're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, but next week they're going to talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Steel Ball Run. Hopefully we will know when episode 2 is coming out by then, or it will be out. Like, Netflix hasn't, like, explicitly said, as far as I know, when episode 2 is supposed to come out. But episode 1 is, like, a 50-minute, like, it covers more than the first volume. It's, like, the whole first leg of the race. It was really hype. It was really fun. Steel Ball Run is Bird's favorite manga. So he was literally more hyped for this anime than he has ever been for anything. Like, he's been talking about how, like, scared he is / hopeful he is about a Steel Ball Run anime adaptation the whole time we've known each other. And so, I had read the first volume of the manga back when we were trying to do a We Read Manga, like, bonus podcast for our We Watch Anime podcast. Pretty much fell through because we ran out of time to do it, but I did read the first volume of the manga, and watching the first episode of the anime, it was almost the exact same thing, just way easier to tell what the fuck is going on. The manga art is very confusing and hard to parse, and so I was very glad to have it in color. It's easier to tell when you're, like, moving through time randomly and stuff like that, so yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It was paced really well. The music direction is incredibly hype. That's, like, probably the best part. And it looks good. So yeah, I would say it's pretty sick. Bird was like, "This is the best episode of anime I've ever seen in my fucking life." He was like, "It's been years since an anime was this good." I don't know if I feel all that, considering how fucking good Jujutsu Kaisen has been this season, and what else had an amazing episode? There was that episode 6 of Fate Strange Fake was really cool. I wouldn't say that was on the same level, but it was really interesting. But yeah, the JoJo episode was really, really good. And Bird and Shade will discuss it not this Sunday, but next Sunday. This Sunday they're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters. The first 30 chapters of Akane Banashi, which I have not read yet, but I've heard nothing but praise for, and so I'm very curious. I probably will try to read it before they talk about it. Then the new Bruno Mars album is the first music one, because it just came out. It's at the top of the charts, and I think it'll be a good way to just get a sense of what they like in music or don't like. I don't know how they're gonna feel about it. I just know it's a very popular album that's out right now, and so let's give that a shot as, like, benchmarking their tastes in music, basically. And then the beer is gonna be like a variety pack of Victory Golden Monkey beers, and I think the snack is going to be, like, Wegmans has their own brand of Takis, like spicy Takis. They're going to do the Wegmans brand spicy Takis because Shade insists those are very good. So yeah, that's the first WHAMS. Go to my community posts page to see the ad for it if you need a reminder of what all they're talking about. I've really got to piss, so I'll be right back. WHAMS! Da, 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 da. Let the boys be boys! Let's see all this fucking chat I missed out on. There's one where it's essentially the same plot but uni rather than high school. I don't even know what you're talking about. Let me scroll back up. Scroll farther up. I'm too far behind. I don't even know what the conversation's about. No, thank you. Said the visual novel community is the same as the anime community. Most people like the plot-centric horror melodrama stuff, not the pure love romance stuff that was the driver of the development of Moe originally. Well, you know, that stuff is kind of boring, so that's probably got to do with it. But I understand what it feels like to have nobody like your genre. It's a tough feeling. What am I working on? Well, I'm getting into older anime like Cardcaptor Sakura and Tenchi Muyo. Hell yeah. That's a whole vibe era. The late 90s era. The best time for cell animation. Looking forward to Nova's Gits vlogs. I'm working on painting the Bandai Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Luster Soldier model kit into the trans flag colors. That's fucking awesome. That is a great project. Black Luster Soldier in trans flags colors. That fucking rules. I'm pretty sure that's one of the cards I actually used to use. No, maybe not so much. I'm thinking of another dude. I'm thinking of Kaiser Seahorse. They're kind of, they look maybe a little bit similar, but I do remember, you know, obviously Yugi used Black Luster Soldier all the time in the show. The only Gundam I know is the Witch from Mercury because I read some manga and fanfics of it. I really did not care for the Witch from Mercury, which sucks because it is like the lesbian one, but I could not get into it at all. If you want to get into Gundam, I highly recommend watching the original Mobile Suit Gundam, but also watch Turn A Gundam because that's the one that I'm talking about on my show, and you can watch either one of those with absolutely no experience in anything. You can completely comprehend Turn A Gundam for the most part without watching any other Gundam because it's set like 20,000 years in the future of all of the other shows. It has a lot of Easter eggs that will only make sense if you've seen lots of Gundams, but they're not really important to the overall story. So I think Turn A Gundam makes a great introduction to the whole thing. Like, I think it's one of the best ones that you could watch first and then decide if you want to see more, you know. I got into Imagine Dragons by watching Fantano. That's wild. I didn't think he liked them, so that's a funny way to get into them. Make me up, believer. Fantano has not reviewed a single album by The Pillows. That's true. Didn't Fantano review Bedroom Bedrock? Kind of. He talked about it on It Came From Bandcamp. And you know, he's just like, yeah, you know, it's some wild-ass bedroom rap. But he's never checked out any of my stuff since then, which is a shame because that's literally my first hip-hop album, and all the other ones, well, I won't say all the other ones are better. It's definitely better than a few of the other ones, but I've made some much better work since then, I think. All I really know about Jujutsu Kaisen is that there's a trans character, and she is fucking awesome, but Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty fucking badass. I mean, if you just like to see the coolest animation ever, that's the show you gotta watch. Like, I couldn't possibly try to describe what the fuck is going on in the show because the power systems is really complicated, and basically the show is always just like establishing a rule and then establishing how that rule actually doesn't apply. But like, I don't care about the logic. I just want to see the fights, and the fights are just the best. Like, the animation is on a different level from anything else that exists, really. Like, by the time you get to season 3, it's like, wow, this is the benchmark, you know? Like, I want to say pretty much every year there is an anime that benchmarks action animation, and Jujutsu Kaisen has been that for seasons 2 and 3. Like, it's just better. You know, it's like if you're trying to show off that you can do the coolest action fight scene nobody's thought of yet, you go do it on Jujutsu Kaisen, you know. It just looks ridiculous. It's been really funny too because for Whams get Hitachino Ale, it's so insanely good. Everyone needs to try it. I'll look into that. I've never heard of it. Um yeah, like this season Bird and I have been watching like 6 shows. If you go to the Nova's Anime blog channel, we have a limited We Watch Anime revival series. And the reason is that it just so happens this season there were 6 shows that were all sequels to shows that we had covered in the past on our old podcast. And those 6 shows are JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, not JoJo. Fuck. Jujutsu Kaisen, Free Ren, Trigun Stargaze, Fate Strange Fake, Hell's Paradise, and Fire Force. All those shows came back this season. And, like, Fire Force mostly kind of looks like ass. But, like, last week's episode was, like, the pulling out all the stops, awesome, epic, big, you know, one of the final battles. Like, we're reaching the end of the show. And it was the kind of thing where I was like, if this came out in 2011, it would have been, like, one of the most badass-looking things that existed then. But when you stack it up next to the latest Jujutsu Kaisen episode, it feels like you are watching 2 different eras of anime. Like, Fire Force looks as good as anime looked 10, 15 years ago in its latest episode. Jujutsu Kaisen is bleeding edge animation quality. Even, like, the latest Free Ren episode is, like, non-stop impressive animation. Like, by itself, just looks amazing. And it's another case where, like, maybe, you know, 5-10 years ago, this would have been mind-blowing. But you've got Jujutsu Kaisen right there, doing shit you've never seen before. Like, just totally changing the game, bringing things to a new level. So, like, yeah, it's just a different level of animation quality than you're going to get anywhere else. And Fate Strange Fake looks really good, too, which is shocking because it's an A1 Pictures show, but it's probably the best looking A1 Pictures show I've ever seen. Although I haven't really been keeping up with them over the years, so it's possible they have some other decent looking stuff. Are we still talking about what we're working on? For me, it's chronic health issues. That is difficult. I don't think I can give as much advice with that as I can with the creative stuff. But, you know, good luck and Godspeed. We'll all be rooting for you. Forever X for Never says, Bird, a JoJo fan? Interesting. I await to hear his takes on the cut content, specifically the Sandman introduction, participation fee changes, Pocolocos salary tweak, etc. Yeah, so that was the Sandman stuff was like the most missing, right? Like the most stuff that was missing was from Sandman's introduction. But Bird was saying that he thinks it'll make sense because I'm spoiling what he's probably going to say on Whams, but he said like most of it kind of gets re-explained later, and like it just will make more sense to put all of it there than it would to put it here for pacing reasons. Like he basically just thinks they're going to reduce the redundancy that the manga had by you know, moving things around so that each story is told completely instead of being told like more in piecemeal as we go. I don't remember the stuff about the participation fee and Pocolocos salary tweak personally, but I'll have to see if he has opinions about it. I'll make sure to bring that stuff up to him before he talks about it on Whams. Knowing him, he'll probably go reread, you know, what they covered just because of that level of hype that he's experiencing over it. Playing Splatoon for the first time lately makes me happy. Fuck yeah, I love Splatoon. That's one of the like very few video games I am still down to play. Splatoon 3 in particular. I got onto a kick of like a couple months ago for a few days. That's one of those games where like I'll pick it up and just for a few days play it like constantly. But it's like there's so few video games I ever return to, like I'll try to make an effort. I want to play more Atlas, especially because Z Cypher like bought it for me so that I could play with him, and I have only done so once. But it is really fun and cool, and I'd love to see more of it. But it takes a lot to get me to like keep playing a video game. And Splatoon is one of them. It's one of those that I've actually come back to more than once. No, thank you. Said it's not that nobody likes my genre. There was an entire community of people who liked my genre. They were called otaku, and they were in Japan dancing the hara hara yukai and akihabara before 2009. It's true. It's true. They did exist. You need more like unifying otaku media, like you had Genshiken back then that made people feel like, oh, this is what I'm a part of. You need more of that. There used to be a lot of shows about being an otaku, and that well just kind of dried up, I feel like. What happened to otaku oriented anime? Butthole Weeb is here with $5. Hey, first person to send a super chat. Let's go. Caught up on Free Rent in Hell's Paradise yesterday and binged all of Inexpressive Kashiwata and Expressive Otakun. It was meh, I guess. Yeah, so my controversial opinion on Free Rent is that it has become the most overrated anime in existence. Because, okay, like, I haven't seen, there's a new episode that should be out, like, today, I think. I haven't seen that yet. Last week's episode was hype. It was, like, pretty much nonstop crazy action, like, epic fight scenes. But, like, contextually, it wasn't really interesting. Like, compared to even, like, the latest Jujutsu Kaisen, which had, maybe not the latest one. I haven't seen yesterday's episode. But last week's Jujutsu Kaisen, like, had... Not only was the animation insane, but conceptually what was happening was insane. Like, it was unique ideas for fights, And in Free Ren, it was literally like guys with swords running around and, slashing at each other and, like, doing magic. And it was just, like, very old school, almost nostalgically old school. So it was fine. Like, it looked cool, but it wasn't, like, conceptually exciting, and season 2 of Free Ren has just been boring. Just, like, nothing really interesting has happened in season 2 of Free Ren, in my opinion. There has been, like, tiny little sparks of emotion in what has mostly just been a very drab sequence of characters kind of staring forward unemotively and walking a lot, So I know I'm in the minority because it's like the best rated show on my anime list. Although JoJo, literally in one episode, JoJo has topped everything. JoJo is currently the highest rated anime on Mal because, I mean, how is it not going to be after having a hype ass first episode? But yeah, Free Ren has just gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've read the whole manga. It's been stalled out for like 2 years. I've read all that exists. I loved the manga, but I read it in 2 days. Like all the boring stuff just kind of went right by, and I got to the cool stuff. Whereas the anime is like, oof, this is gonna take 90 years to get to the interesting stuff. So I don't know. I think Free Ren is super overrated at this point. Hell's Paradise, though, has been pretty badass. I have not seen any of Inexpressive Kashiwata and Expressive Otakun, but I love Hell's Paradise, even though season 2 had like 3 episodes of the characters just stood around in a fucking cave doing exposition, and that really sucked. But otherwise, it picked up after that, and it's gotten pretty badass. Airy Rude Boy said, I think I'm the only person with a Genshiken poster. Yeah, I don't know if I ever had a poster. I don't think so. I think Splatoon is the most I've enjoyed an online game since Team Fortress 2. I never played that. Sketch Screen with $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Got any tips for getting better at drawing? Well, I'm not very good at drawing myself, but I guess I have improved over time. But I would say, I mean, obviously doing a lot of it is one part, but also, like, studying what you're doing to figure out, like, how does it not match up to your expectations. Like, it also depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Like, because as an artist, you have your own expectations of what you think your art should be, and if you can get closer to that, that's really the goal, right? Like, figure out what am I capable of, and what am I going for, and how do I get to there? Like, because I think that when you when you start as an artist, it tends to be that you are trying to copy what you think is good art. And I think expanding what you think is good art can help you a lot. Like, just looking at art that is not necessarily what you're trying to do, but like nonetheless, you can appreciate the quality of it. If you can incorporate and combine those kinds of things, like, I think what I'm trying to say is that as important as drawing a lot is looking at lots of art. Like, do not limit yourself to looking at stuff that you already think is good. Figure out what's good about something that people like who aren't you. Like, consume lots of different styles and figure out, like, what are they doing? How are they getting these results? Um I would honestly recommend, like, following my Blue Sky, because I just repost dope art all the time. And like, I think that when you see lots of, like, a big variety of dope stuff, then it kind of changes your mentality about what is the goal. A lot of the time it's not difficult. Like, it's not complicated or difficult stuff. It's more like, again, what are you trying to achieve? Like, if you're trying to be able to draw any pose, you need to be doing pose work. Like, you need to be to get one of those little fucking wooden dolls, those posable wooden dolls, and put it in the pose you want and draw it in that pose. And do a whole lot of what are they called? What are those studies called? There's like 5 amazing illustrators in the chat right now, so also listen to them. Anything that Nisa and Z Cypher and Racky the Robot Guy are telling you, listen to them, because they're literally all amazing, like, professional quality artists. But yeah, like, that's another thing. Get yourself into the company of people who draw. Like, if there's somebody whose work you admire and they're accessible, get that access. Talk to them, ask for advice. um and yeah, of course, if they make tutorials, like, a lot of people who make art also just, like, make videos where they demonstrate how they made it. Like, if you follow Nisa, she literally shows her entire process in each video. So you can just do what she's doing and be able to, it's not going to look exactly like her art, because her brush stroke is super unique, but, like, you can at least see what the process is that she's going through, and maybe rethink some of the way you're going about it. And that's probably as much as I can say before overloading you with information. And yeah, music is very similar. Both of them are like, just try to do lots of different stuff and figure out how are the people who are doing what you want to do doing it. Like, with music, listen to the Song Exploder podcast. Like, it's just musicians literally describing in intimate detail how they got every sound in the mix, how they mixed it. Like, usually the answer is a lot more complicated than you think. Like, the people who are doing it really quickly, it's because they figured out how to do that stuff, and now it's second nature to them. But the actual process of gathering all those skills takes a long time. So don't expect too much from yourself too quickly, but keep at it. I have watched several artists go from, like, barely legible drawings with ass color work to, like, the best thing I've ever seen inside of 6 months before. I'm not saying that's going to be you. I'm just saying I've seen it happen. Rocky the Robot Guy with 100 sec says, on the subject of top tier manga getting adaptations like Steel Ball Run, have you kept up with Berserk at all? If so, thoughts on the continuation? And do you think someone will attempt an adaptation? I definitely think an adaptation will be attempted. I think that, but the last one didn't get that deep, right? Like there's still a whole lot more to adapt. I have only ever read Berserk up through volume 31, and it was in like 2010 or something like that. Um, my cousin, who very much shaped my tastes, uh, when like from middle school through high school, he was like the biggest Berserk fan way back then, and he would buy the manga, every time they released a volume from Dark Horse. So he had the big ass stack of 31 volumes, and at one point he was living with me, so those were just in my room. And at some point I read through all of them, and I thought it was fucking amazing, as everyone does. Nobody ever reads Berserk and is like, it fucking sucks, like, unless they're really stupid. But it is an absolute classic. Me and my brother Vic talked about the 2016 adaptation back when that happened and how much of an abomination it was. But I think Vic actually watched all of it because he kept saying, like, as bad as it looks, the story is still the story of Berserk. And so it still has moments that you get really invested into it because Berserk is just that good that, like, no amount of fucking it up could truly diminish it being Berserk. I was like, I don't know. I'm not putting myself through that. I watched the first couple episodes and I was good on that. But I definitely think they're going to try to adapt it again. And honestly, like, as much as that one sucked and people are going to blame the fact that it was CGI, a CGI Berserk can go hard. I mean, even the Studio 4C movies looked pretty good, and that was still more than 10 years ago. Since we're on the subject of, classic manga being readapted, Trigun right now fucking rules. Like, I think the CGI Trigun that Studio Orange is making is legitimately better than the original Trigun. And Trigun was my favorite anime for like a solid year. 2005, that was my favorite anime, was Trigun. Like, the story and characters and setting mean a lot to me in a way that I didn't even really fully appreciate until getting to see it again with this show. Because I tried to rewatch Trigun a few times over the years, and like the early episodes are kind of whatever, and like the animation is just bad. Like the artwork, the art style of old Trigun, great. The actual moment to moment animation is like kind of shit. The soundtrack, god tier for the original Trigun. The soundtrack for new Trigun, they brought back Tsuneo Imahori, and it's got like it's got both the rock, like grungy, weird experimental stuff and like epic orchestral, like heartstring pulling songs, and they both just go hard as shit in the new show. But more than that, it moves constantly. Like, the characters are always moving, always expressing something, and it's like exciting and fun to just look at, like. And yeah, the models are a little, like, the character models are not the most attractive that they could be, but the way they move is so much fun, and the world feels alive and like full of detail. And I went and rewatched Badlands Rumble, which that was like the Trigun movie, which looks as good as it almost possibly could. Like, if you were talking about 2D animation and animating the Trigun world, the movie looks fucking amazing. And I'm still hesitant to say that it is a better visual experience because it still has that anime, like, stop and start feeling to it, where, like, anime is usually like there's a cool movement and then the characters kind of freeze and talk, And the new show just doesn't have that. The characters are always moving when they're talking. And so it just feels more alive in a way that, like, most anime struggle with. And most CGI anime can't do this and look good. But Studio Orange are just better. They're just better at it. It's if you don't like CGI anime, I really think it probably comes down to which ones you've seen and whether the people doing it really know what they're doing. Because Studio Orange did Land of the Lustrous, which looked great. They did fucking Beastars, which looks great. And they've done Trigun, which looks great. So I think if you had Studio Orange do a CGI Berserk, there is potential there for it to actually work and be great. I don't know if people would accept it, considering what we've been through with Berserk, but I think it's possible. And I don't think it's going to be possible in 2D animation. I just simply don't think there's any chance we're getting a a long form 2D animated Berserk anime again. But yeah. Okay. Gary Always with $2 says, Hello everybody. Let me tell you about Homestuck. Is that what you're working on?" um Real quick, I've got a one-time invite to send to someone. Okay, I think that works. How did I feel about 2012 Black Rock Shooter in terms of the CGI look? I remember thinking it looked somewhat cool, but overall, I was not that. I only watched the first episode of it, so I can't really say that much. I just remember not liking the story, so it's also possible that I was at the time being myself snooty about it being in 3D. But I remember it looking kind of cool because it had like that Trigger kind of style animation, which I think Studio Trigger has basically revolutionized what 3D animation looks like. I mean, Promare is gorgeous. A significant amount of it is 3D and it looks amazing. Fucking, Guilty Gear has looked amazing in 3D. And I think those two things kind of like pushed the envelope. Like when Guilty Gear started doing 3D and when Trigger started doing 3D, they really pushed it into a direction where it started looking great, in my opinion. And now you got stuff like the Puss in Boots 2 or fucking the Spider-Verse movies that are just some of the best looking animated films that I've ever seen, and totally in 3D, So like, I think we're at a point now where 3D movies can be literally the best looking animations as long as the right team is doing it. I have some qualms with K-pop Demon Hunters in the fact that there's a lot of like very underexpressed faces in that movie, but then whenever they do push the facial expressions, it looks great. And there are scenes in that movie that look amazing. And I think the overall design work is pretty strong. So like, I don't know. I think we're on a good path with 3D animation is what I'm trying to say. And I am innately into 3D animation because like my first real favorite animated show as a kid was Beast Wars because it was in 3D. Like Beast Wars felt super futuristic to me because it had 3D animation in 1994, and so like I kind of have always been waiting for 3D to be the dominant and best looking animation style. And I just remember being really disappointed throughout the late 90s that there wasn't a lot more, like there wasn't a lot of shows trying to do it or pushing the envelope with it. And, like I remember like loving Code Lyoko's 3D at the time. So like I've always thought it could be good, but the best CG anime is the Avant-Garde 2007 3-episode OVA Hoshi no Umi no Amuri. I think I know the one you're talking about, and I do remember it being very... That's the one where it's like a cute girl in space with some cats or something, right? Or am I remembering wrong? Ever watch Ergo Proxy? I did, and I wasn't that into it. I did a video about it way back in like 2014. Called Useless Anime Review. I don't know if it's still listed, but it would probably be in my anime analysis playlist if not. I think like the first episode of Ergo Proxy is like one of the coolest looking things ever, and after that it really just kind of lost me more and more as it went. But I don't know. That's one of those where I could see rewatching it and maybe feeling differently about it, but I definitely was not into it at the time that I did watch it. Shout out to Manglobe for their weird ass shows. Rest in peace. Yeah. That was how I started my anime analysis career on YouTube, was just covering Manglobe Studio because I thought they were like the most fascinating studio that only had a few shows at the time. So, I did a video called Useless Anime Knowledge Intro to Manglobe Studio that just explained like the history of it. Then I did a Samurai Champloo analysis, and then Ergo Proxy. And then the fact that I wasn't that into Ergo Proxy kind of like dampened me towards continuing that. And I also was like really eager to move into Studio Bones instead. But then I ended up, instead of continuing that whole like type of project, I started just watching cyberpunk anime because I got really into cyberpunk as a genre. And as part of watching cyberpunk anime, I was also checking out Trapped in the Internet / Trapped in a Video Game stuff. And that's what led me to Sword Art Online. And then my big Sword Art Online video is the first one I did that like actually blew up out of the anime videos. But it was supposed to be part of like a series on cyberpunk. Because I covered Serial Experiments Lane first. I did an Armitage the Third video. I did Log Horizon. And then Sword Art Online. And Psycho Pass was also in there. And Ghost in the Shell. I did my big Ghost in the Shell franchise overview, which eventually got a shitload of views, but it did not really take off when it came out. Sarah, I'm inclined to agree that the expressions in K-pop Demon Hunters are weird, but a lot of them are used for like the most extreme ones are just used for comedic beats in the story, and I think they work really well where they hit. I ended up falling in love with that movie rewatching it. Like the first time I watched it, I was really cynical about it, and I was just kind of like skipping through and barely paying attention. And then like over time, Bird kept listening to the songs from it, and I was like got a little warmed up to the songs. And then rewatching the movie, like the first 15-20 minutes I still feel kind of cynical about, but then the comedy really picks up after a certain point. And that really won me over. Like once it got me laughing consistently, I started paying more attention to the story and the characters, and then the story and the characters actually turned out to really grip me. And by the end, I got all emotional about it. So I was like, shit, maybe this is actually a great movie. I felt kind of bad about having been as dismissive of it as I kind of had been, because my opinion was like, this is just Powerpuff Girls and Metalocalypse fused into one. Like that was literally my take when I watched it the first time. Was like, I've seen all this before, like I don't need this. This is for kids. This is for, this is for other audiences. This isn't for me. And then returning to it, I think a big part of it is that the main girl's arc was a lot more relatable to me this time because I recently reclaimed my singing voice. Like quitting weed literally made my singing voice so much better and clearer that seeing a story about someone like reclaiming their singing voice through personal growth and like self-acceptance, it hit a lot harder. Butthole Weeb with $5 says, I watched Sing a Bit of Harmony, and it inspired me to make an AI album of my farts. But by the time I made a song, my poopy beehole bled when I poo. We all had to hear that, and now it's in all of your heads together. Thank you for the $5, Butthole Weeb. No further comment. That was a doozy. Crack Rock Pooper said Gary Always, and that wasn't even related. That was just because I was talking about Black Rock Shooter earlier, but it seemed like an appropriate time to read that. Okay, where was I? Hey, Trixie, I'm working on a manga right now and trying to get commissions. Been drawing for a long time, says Angry Senpai 2068. What kind of manga? Where do we find it? Start promoting it right here and now. Everyone in this chat is a creator, and half of them are comic artists, and I'm sure they want to see it. Advertise. And also let us know if you're stuck on anything, you need any advice. Instead of Jujutsu Kaisen, you should watch something good like Ari Ferreita. Didn't I watch like 6 episodes of that and said it was better than Sword Art Online? So, it's fine. Did they make a lot of that or something? Um, Jujutsu Kaisen is really good. I'm not gonna hear anything to the contrary. Like, you can try to tell me that it's not good. I am simply not going to believe you in any way, shape, or form. It is crazy good. You ever think of taking old vids down and just re-uploading them? Would that help or hurt your channel? I think taking them down would hurt. Re-uploading them would be fine. If I just like slightly edited them and changed it. Hickok45 does that all the fucking time. He's like a super old man who posts like almost every day, and if it's not a new video, it's just like a recut of an old video, and also has a clips channel that does some of the same. So it definitely can be a thing, um, especially if it's like topics that are still interesting. You know, I have been thinking about doing like compilations where it's like every time I talked about one series, just compiling all of that into a big video and just calling it something like 4 hours of whatever analysis. I'm definitely going to do this for, I have a channel called Nova Loves Music. It only has 2 videos on it because this channel is exclusively for super long form content. So it's like a nearly 5-hour Open Mike Eagle album review was the first video, and then like a 2-hour or so video about all of my favorite music from last year. Neither one of these has even like 1,000 views. Like, that channel is not really performing yet. But I intend to create a compilation of all the Kendrick Lamar videos I've ever done and just call it like 6 hours of Kendrick Lamar analysis, and also all of the Doechii videos I've done. So, you know, maybe I'll collect other artists as they become relevant, but probably I'll do those like around when they're actually putting out more music. Landon texted me, have you seen Sing a Bit of Harmony? No, I have not. I watched Gorgeous Movie about how fucking creepy AI is going to be in Japan. I had not heard of it till you brought it up just now, so give us the manga. Protect queer art indeed. Also, just one cartoon I just remembered is Totally Spies. We never forget Totally Spies around here. I feel like it comes up all the time somehow. Hickok45 is neat. Yeah, I like him. He's a... Bird caught me learning about guns, and he was like, you gotta watch Hickok45 if you're gonna learn about guns. And then I marathoned him until Bird asked me to stop. He was like, you have to stop watching Hickok45. I'm tired of hearing his voice. I was like, okay. He reviewed the new Glock Gen 6, and it made me want one. I never really wanted a Glock that strongly, but the Gen 6 looks pretty nice, and I was like, ooh, who's gonna give me $600 to buy a Glock? I own 0 guns. But they are pretty sexy. Has anyone here ever watched Angel Beats? You mean Angle Beast? I thought maybe it was a forgotten anime. Angel Beats was actually really popular. It's one of those ones that like people don't talk about it a lot. Like, it doesn't get a lot of like post hoc analysis or anything like that, but it was really popular. There's a YouTuber called Jab45, I think that's the numbers, who told me that that's his favorite anime, and that if I ever talk about it, then he would help me edit the video, but I've never done so. We just bought an FN545. I gotta look up what that is. FN545. Well, I got 545 and it's 545. Ooh, that's a cool looking gun. Brody, we gotta like, you gotta take me out shooting or something. 'Cause I haven't shot a gun in like 5 years, and neither has Bird, and I know that's got to be like a little weight on his soul. When I first met him, he was like, guns are the coolest shit in the world, and then like we've never been able to afford them, so He just kind of quietly stopped pining over them. One thing I want to see is vids about Soviet heavy vehicles because they're interesting as all hell. I don't know nothing about that. We have like 5-ish gun. How do you have 5-ish gun? What's the ish? What's the half gun? Do you have a split in half gun? Butthole Weeb said, Angel Beats made me and my friend go on a 3-day depressed drunken bender. Or, well, really he wrote binder, but I assume he meant bender. I definitely remember, like, bawling my fucking eyes out at the end of Angel Beats. That was the first anime ever, actually, that, like, truly made me, like, I used to count the number of tears that anime had ever made me cry, and it was like 2 was the most from one show. But Angel Beats made me like well, first Clannad, like the end of the Foucault arc in Clannad had made me cry like a bit, like a bit more than normal. It was like 5 or 6 tears. Angel Beast, Angle Beast reduced me to a sobbing mess in that last episode. Like, I could not control myself. I was just at the right place in life for that message to hit really hard, I think. Ever made a Chobits video? I haven't. I have only ever read the first volume of that manga and seen the first episode of the anime. But for some reason, I never got deeper into it. Maybe just because I haven't really had a friend who was like a big Chobits to push me through it. Love the OP though. What is it? Round Table. All of their anime OPs are fucking classics. My favorite being the Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight opening. But also the Chobits one. Do 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 yeah. I know I did that out of key. Do 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 yeah. There we go. That's the right key. How do people live in the USA and not exercise their gun rights at least monthly? I grew up in a staunchly anti-gun household. So I never thought a gun would be something I would even touch for most of my upbringing. But then I grew up and met gun people and was like, oh, these are sick, actually. Uoi Kyanyatuon, or no thank you, said, I just came here to shill my video, by the way, which is good. You should all watch, because you're all wrong about isekai and don't even know what you're talking about, unlike me, who is a genius. I'm willing to believe it, I don't really try to learn new things about anime that much, but I'm sure some people here will be frothing at the mouth, chomping at the bit, ready to go. Revolver, shotgun, 545, 9mm, AK-47, hunting rifle. Sorry, AR-15. That sounds like 6 guns. Where's the ish? Where does the ish come in? If you went to the hood and started sipping lead at the corner store and hitting licks with, I'm just going to say, youngins, I'd go so hard. I'm not trying to hit any licks, but I will sip lead. No, I'm not trying to sip lead either. I'm down to hang out at the corner store, but I'm not down to do any of the rest of that. Oh, boy. Butthole Weeb called it anal beads. I was like, why are you talking about anal beads? Oh, Angel Beast, of course. I keep calling it Angel Beast. Angel Beast? If you don't get that joke, that's a deep, old reference to one of my videos. I don't even know if I could really describe. It was called Endless Weeb Trivia Quizzes, and like deep into that video, there's a truly legendary moment. Ready Zero blows donkey nuts. Big agree. Big agree. Any thoughts or opinions about One Piece live action? I have not seen it. Another reminder that I haven't seen Dot Hack somehow. I mean, Dot Hack is not necessarily worth watching. Like any of it. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff in Dot Hack, but overall it is very boring. Like in pretty much every incarnation. It's like the epitome of like a bad show with a lot of good ideas, you know? And an amazing soundtrack. No matter which one you're watching, it does have an amazing soundtrack. But I would much rather just listen to the music by itself than actually watch the show. Oh, you meant five ish because you weren't sure if it was five or more. I thought you were saying five ish, like 5.5 or something. Shotgun is my favorite. Used to own a shotgun, never once got to fire it though. A certain someone pressured me into buying one at the start of COVID, thinking like, "Oh, society's gonna collapse. We need a gun." But then because everywhere was closed, there was no opportunity to practice with it. So it just kind of sat in a closet until that certain someone wasn't around anymore, in which case I promptly sold it back to the people I had bought it from. I'm not sure if you've ever made a video about your overall favorite cast. Mine's Yu Yu Hakusho. Do you mean my favorite like voice cast or my favorite like cast of characters in a show? That is a great question, actually. Like, what show has my favorite cast of characters? Like, I'm tempted to say Shirobako, but I don't necessarily feel that strongly about the characters as much as I just think that they are really good. Yu Yu Hakusho has a great cast as well. Oh man, this might be why I'm not as into any particular anime as most people are. Like I feel like really loving the cast of characters is what makes people have a favorite anime, and that might be why I don't really have a favorite anime, is that I can't even think of one that I'm like, oh, the characters in this though. I'm going to my Mal. Going to my completed page. Sorting by score. I mean, Evangelion has a really powerful cast. I don't know if I'd call them my favorite, though, because most of them kind of shit people. There's a lot of shows where it's like a few characters are really amazing, and then the rest I kind of don't really think about. Favorite cast. Scrolling through my tens and going, I guess K-On! K-On! Is like all of the main characters are really strong. It's been an eternity since I've watched K-On!, but that is what makes it so good, is that all the characters are really, really strong. Eureka 7 has a really strong cast. Utena, Revolutionary Girl Utena has a really strong cast. I'm going to say those are my answers for now. Yeah, probably just those. Log Horizon also has a pretty great cast of characters. Are we allowed to shamelessly link things here? I think that YouTube will swallow your link, but you are free to tell people where to find something. Butthole Weeb with $2 says, best cast Love Live, Gurren Lagann, and Kyoso Giga. I have not seen Kyoso Giga. Gurren Lagann does have a very strong cast. They don't connect with me in like a super personal way. Love Live fucking can go eat ass. Mealy butthole. Monogatari has great characters. I I disagree. Do da da da. They're fun. They're definitely fun in both of those shows. But I'm trying to think of characters who I actually like. like, oh, I would watch anything with this guy in it because I like this character so much, and like I don't feel that there's a lot of things that I feel that way about. My favorite characters of some of my favorite shows. I mean, let's go with so my Mal lists my favorite characters as Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, which is like one of those shows that has a strong cast for what it is. Like they're not the most memorable characters, but they serve their purpose really well. I've got Ryogi Shiki from Kata no Kyokai because she's literally me. I've got Anthy Himemiya from Revolutionary Girl Utena, which again I will say Utena probably the strongest cast I can think of in terms of like every single character is memorable and fun to watch and interesting, and you know even if most of them aren't like great people, at least a few of them are like yeah I'd hang out with Utena, I'd hang out with Anthy, you know. I would laugh at fuck what's her name, the blonde girl, she's the most funny. I've got Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho on my list. I've got Manabi from Manabi Straight because she's also literally me. I've got Hibari Kun from Stop Hibari Kun for being the best trans character that I know. Mamimi from Fooly Cooly, and Fooly Cooly would be another one that's up there in terms of like all these characters are really strong, but they're not characters I'd hang out with. You know, like Mamimi is the only one. Oh, Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei has a really strong cast. I've got Itoshiki Nozomu on my favorite characters list somehow. And Nobue Ito from Strawberry Marshmallow, and Rimuru from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which is another one where like the characters are not that strong individually, but the chemistry of all of them together is really good. Same with Log Horizon. Like Log Horizon has a few characters I really love, like Shiroe and Akatsuki. Most of them are like just really cool in context, you know. I think that's how I feel about most anime that I do like the cast of, is like I like them in the context of the show, but I'm not like that attached to them as characters. Never have seen Ucho Tenkazoku. That's one of those that I've kind of kept in the back pocket as like a show that I always heard is good, but like waiting for my day to finally watch it. Brody Caesar says, you need to watch all my videos. This is true. This is facts. Everybody go to my link tree and go to Brody's channel. Or I don't know if you can just click on her name and go there because YouTube chat is silly about that. But if you can just click on the names, you know. Anybody who's got a shield next to their name is clearly somebody I think you should be checking out. And yeah, don't forget to like the stream like Nisa said. Help me in that algorithm that I have absolutely no pull in the YouTube algorithm. My channel is hated by YouTube. My channel is like violently despised by YouTube to the extent where you could type the exact name of one of my videos in and it's not going to show up in the search. Like, my friend Mint Salad recently started a channel and YouTube loves her channel. She put out a video called How Manipulators Control Normies. And basically there's like, I guess this meme has been going around about this triangle where it's like you've got like manipulators, noticers, and normies on the three ends. And it's about like how the three of them kind of keep each other in check in this way. And Mint took it and made it like way more complicated. Like she added in like in between titles for people who are like kind of one and the other, and then this whole system of who beats who. It's very fun. It feels like something I would have made on the After Dark channel in like 2018. But YouTube loves that video. Like it's already up to like 4,500 views on like a brand new channel, and it's mostly getting pushed to people who have never heard of her, who are just like coming to it from other similar videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is what it's supposed to be. This is how YouTube promotion is supposed to work. So if you want to subscribe to a channel that YouTube actually likes, Mint is also linked in my link tree. But this channel is so hated by YouTube. I don't know what I could possibly do to make YouTube love my channel the way it loves Mint's channel. Maybe we'll get there. Venture Lord says Mint's video on the triangle was super goated. I really enjoyed it. You should also watch her comic review, by the way. Like, it's got way less views. She started the channel with a review of Lost Girls by Alan Moore, and that review is hilarious. It's about a very fucked up, weird, bizarre comic by Alan Moore. And she describes it in a way that is highly engaging. Why does it hate my channel so much? Because of that time that I removed all my videos. That time when I privated most of my videos on the channel, YouTube did not like that. As like a system, it really did not like that. And especially because the videos I made for the first like year after doing that were not popular at all, I have never recovered like algorithmically from that. Now, since then, I have made videos that have managed to grow slowly. Like, I have a bunch of videos that are approaching like 100,000 views, but it took years, you know, like the Legend of the Galactic Heroes video. Like, it took as long as it takes to watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes for that video to get to a view count that matches the episode number in thousands of Legend of Galactic Heroes. But yeah, weren't I struggling with the algorithm before then as well? Not really. I was having my channel was doing okay, but I also did not understand that 50,000 views is considered a massive video on YouTube. Like, I didn't know that. I was batting crazy numbers before 2018. There was a time where I would be really disappointed if a video didn't get to 100,000 in one day. Like, that was my expectation, was if this video doesn't hit 100K on the first day, then it must not have been, like, I must not have done the right show or whatever, you know? Like, so, like, I didn't think that was a lot, though. Like, I thought 100,000 views was, like, baseline for a video performing decently. And I only found out years later when a person who owns YouTube channels explicitly told me, if you were getting 50,000 views consistently, we would be throwing bags of money at you. And I was like, where the fuck were you 5 years ago? But yeah, no, I literally had no idea what is a lot of views, you know? Like, I thought I was a small channel because I wasn't getting millions of views. But you know, I was also early to the whole like YouTubing as a career thing. And I also was way more reliant on Patreon. I didn't ever use mid-roll ads in my videos until like post collapsing the channel. Like, my mentality was, oh, well, people pay me on Patreon, so there shouldn't be mid-roll ads. And it's like, now it's just taken for granted that if you want to make money, you've got to do all the things, you know? Like, YouTube's not even going to promote you as much if you don't have mid-roll ads. So like, I just did a lot of silly stuff that was on the basis of no one's working with me. I have no team. I wasn't with any kind of producer or any kind of manager, you know. I was just doing my own thing. And I did not know the worth of my channel. Like, it could have been making me rich. Like, literally rich with the numbers I was pulling. But I collapsed it before all that, which is really for the best in terms of my personal sanity. Like, I was not prepared in life to have that kind of power or money. I did not know anything about living, really, until after collapsing the channel. I learned everything I needed to know beforehand, you know? So, but now I'm in a state where it's like, I don't even really want to be known for my content, you know? Like, I feel like my purpose as a creator was to start a bunch of trends that I now get to enjoy. And it's not necessarily my job to continue those trends, you know? Isabel's got a Wii U out for delivery. Let's go! Wii U right to pray! I'm going to send you some games next week when I can afford to. Shouts out to the Secret Santas in chat. I don't know if you want me to be like, hey, look, you bought Isabella Wii U, but we've been secret Santaing because Isabel deeply desired a Wii U, and we were like, we got to make this happen. Send me my fucking shirt. I'll mail yours and Bird's. Are you at home yet, Landon? Are you back in the States to do that? I don't want to send you your shirt to a empty house. You are back home? Okay. We can do this mail exchange, I suppose. But I gotta wait till I have money. I don't have expendable income to be throwing on mail at the moment. But maybe next week. I'm going camping tomorrow night. That'll be fun. Haven't been camping in a fucking since the start of winter, pretty much. Got too fucking cold. But now it's cool again. My highest is 12,000, my drunk Prince of Tennis video. Yeah, not a lot of people talk about Prince of Tennis, so that's probably got to do with it. Every rude boy says, I think it's because you stopped making anime vids, but I started again, and so that's not truly the answer. Also, I don't need to hear what anybody thinks is the cause. I have the raw data. This comes up all the time where, I'll talk about what I did to my channel, and then people will tell me that it's something else, and I'm like, I have the data. I have the information. I know what's going on under the hood. I've got all the... YouTube is not quiet with you about what you're doing. You know. You will, if you're doing your job as a YouTuber, you know exactly what you're doing wrong or exactly what you're doing right. And so I do get a little bit frustrated when people try to tell me stuff this commenter who I've had to give this guy shit so many times. This dude Shadow Priest, he always manages to find a way to piss me off. But I had a video recently, the latest not After Dark. It's Trixie Takes the Square channel video where I talked about. It's called You Are a Solution, and the idea is telling people about marketing art, how to market creativity. And in it, I talk about how as a YouTuber, one of the things you need to be doing is talking to specific people and literally jumping in DMs to make sales. And this guy was like, I don't think YouTubers are jumping into DMs of everybody who they follow to try to tell them to watch something. And I'm like, okay, but I know them. I talk to YouTubers. I know YouTube. I watch videos about how to YouTube. Why are you trying to tell me what YouTubers do and don't do? And I kept arguing against him, and he just kept pushing back. And I'm like, all right, dude, you can believe what you want, but I'm telling you the facts from the people who know the facts. Why do you think you know and I don't? I was so confused why this guy thought he knew and I don't know. And he just kept insisting on it. And I'm like, do you secretly have some big YouTube channel you're not sharing with me? Do you secretly know a bunch of YouTubers who do this? Why do you think you know and I don't know? That drives me nuts. That guy has a real way of getting under my skin, though. He's been pissing me off for years at this point. Are those some kind of mantras? These are my aphorisms. These are all my favorite quotes from myself. That one is, romance is finding a billion ways to say the same thing. This one is, the rice when cooked is double how it looked. If you are a creative person, you should really keep this one in mind. When you pour the rice into the rice cooker, it's going to double in size when it's actually cooked. This is important to think about when you're making projects. Respect yourself as your third parent and your first child. And influence is instantaneous and infinite. These are my favorite aphorisms that I have said. They are always important to remember. I think that the rice when cooked is double how it looked might be the one that I have to reinforce the most, because you really got to understand everything is twice what it looks like it's going to be. And also, influence is instantaneous and infinite. Like, you get influenced by something the second you see it, and you stay influenced by it forever from that point forward. So when you talk about influence, you have to remember that it is instantaneous and infinite. Trixie takes the square. Yes. Sarah said it was 100% deleting videos. YouTube hates when you take away the revenue sources, and they will punish you for it. Yeah, for sure. And it was an instant result. Like, it was immediate, and then, like, eventually I brought the videos back 2 years later. That didn't make it good now. You know, like, that didn't make it suddenly, oh, now there's no problem. It was like, no, you've pretty much fucked yourself, you know. And it's easy enough to just launch new channels and see them grow at a natural rate, you know. Like, this channel has unique punishments on it. Especially, like, go search for, like, Ghost in the Shell franchise overview, and you will get the DigiDoes anime upload of that before you get the Trixie the Golden Witch upload of it, even though the DigiDoes anime one has like 20,000 views and this channel has like 300,000 or 400,000 views or something like that. Doesn't matter. It's not going to come up in the YouTube search unless you literally type Trixie the Golden Witch next to the title. Like, searching for my videos is a nightmare, regardlessly of whether they are up or not. Sometimes you'll get like somebody's archive version before you get my version. Like, it's just a punished channel. It doesn't mean I can't grow videos here. It also doesn't mean it will always be punished. It's just that I have to, you know, think really hard about what result I'm trying to get from a video when I post it here. And my goal is not make a video that gets infinite views. Like, I tend to make my content with very specific goals in mind, you know. I had to hit the bell at that point because as a literal subscriber, you could drop a video and I wouldn't see it somehow. YouTube is wild. Yeah, for sure. It rarely pushes my content to subs, and that's why I've been doing stuff like going back through my whole history and hitting like on every single video, because it draws people back to the channel, which has been working astonishingly well. Or, you know, relaunching the Trixie Takes the Square channel just to take advantage of the fact that that channel is not algorithmically punished in the same way. And so it, you know, immediately got me into feeds of people who hadn't seen me in years, you know, even though they are still subscribed to the main channel. I thought it was Love is Finding a Million Ways to Say the Same Thing, though I guess that shows it was a good one, considering I misremembered the verbiage but kept the vibe meaning. And that is actually the intent. I chose the word billion because it's less common, but I knew that people would remember it differently. And when I wrote it the first time was as a tweet, and I was like, what I want from this is to hear it back different. Like, I wanted to hear someone else say it one day differently from how I had said it, and then be like, you know. So I'm glad if that's how you remember it. I literally want it to be remembered differently, because that is kind of that's kind of what it is. It is finding a zillion ways to say the same thing. It's finding exactly 10,000 ways to say the same thing. I saw you hearting my old comments recently, gave me a nostalgic ride. Hell yeah. And that's the most fun part, is that nobody remembers the comments they made all those years ago. So when they come back and see them, they're like, what the fuck was I on? Like, I keep getting that makeup artist when I search for you, just a little bit lazily. Yeah. Yeah. And true, it doesn't help that there is a much more famous Trixie than myself when it comes to trying to find my content. Do you think changing your YouTube name had an effect? Yes. Changing it to Yig Studio also definitely was a negative effect on the channel. Changing it to Trixie the Golden Witch later on probably was just as negative of an effect in the immediate term, but in the long term, it has been a lot better, because At the very least, it is just a name I'm using and not like a separate name from how you're actually supposed to refer to me, which made it very confusing for a lot of people. Like, even if you remember that I'm Trixie, remembering that my channel is not Trixie is a little too much. And at the time that I had changed it, I was expecting to be posting lots of stuff that wasn't just my content, but that really never played out. YouTubers don't really like to share their content that much. Like, people tend to be like, no, I want to have my own page that represents me, you know, and I was kind of trying to break that meta, but it really did not work. Trixie liking all her old comments has been making me embarrassed. I was commenting some dumb stuff. Don't worry, we all were. Does anyone remember Undercooked Rice on The Biggest Problem? Lol, great problem voted up. That's true. I do remember that. I recommend the channel Angry Video Game Granny. She makes videos in the early 2000s style and as a doll replace the G of Granny with a T. She is a doll replace the D of Granny with a T. I think she changed her name or something, or I've heard something like that. But I have been recommended her a few times, and I will check her out. It was also love versus romance. Here you said romance, but I had remembered it as love. That's great. Yeah, the reason I wrote it as romance is that it's not just meant to include romance meaning like romantic, but romance in like the sense of adventure. You know, like like to write is to be romantic or to practice romance. And so really like any artistic endeavor falls under romance by this definition. Like Romance of the Three Kingdoms or the romantic warrior Rurouni Kenshin. Wish you could talk about Rurouni Kenshin without being like, ah, but you know, it is what it is. Trixie Mattel is very funny. Honestly, I do watch her vids every once in a while. I have never really seen her other than like once in a while a short will come down my feed. Yeah, she seems cool. I did not know about her when I chose the name Trixie, so I found out after I, you know, started searching for myself and finding out there's a whole ass other Trixie who's very famous, and I was like, ah, well, you know, I'm not changing it again, god damn it. I've planted my flag and I'm sticking with it. Staying here. Is my Twitter still hacked? I don't remember the password. How do I get it back? I don't know, Landon. I don't use Twitter. I heard about your hack from other people. Hi, hello, says Verdant Shy. She may be Trixie Mattel, but you are Trixie Hasbro. That's hilarious. That is really funny. In multiple ways is that really funny, actually. Did Landon get hacked? I got a weird DM from him, but I just kind of shrugged it off. Yes, Landon got hacked, and his Twitter is sending weird DMs to everybody. You better start tweeting again. I'm banned. I'm permanently banned. And when you make a Twitter, you have to tie your phone number to it. So if your phone number is banned, you cannot make another Twitter account. Not that I want to, but I am not going on Twitter. Ever. Just get on Blue Sky. Literally just get on Blue Sky. I don't understand anybody who's on Twitter, and every time the conversation comes up with like Bird will be like, oh, I don't know, Blue Sky just seems like hard to use, or like it just seems kind of annoying, and I'm like, I don't understand what you mean. I follow twice as many Blue Sky accounts as I ever followed Twitter accounts. I have a great time on there. It never makes me mad. I cannot remember a time, at least in the last couple of months, because there was a period I followed a bunch of political accounts. That was a mistake. I unfollowed all of them. So, like, in the last couple months, I have not been made upset by Blue Sky at all. I've never gone on there and read something and been like, ugh. And if I do, I just unfollow that person immediately. Like, if I read something and I go, I don't know about that one, unfollow, you know? But, like, I have not... I have not had to deal with anything on Blue Sky. It's just been a good time. So I don't know. It's hard for me to understand the appeal of Twitter because it seems to just make people mad like all the time. All my friends are on Twitter, so it'd be hard to leave. Make them leave. My friends were on Twitter. Now they either aren't or I'm not their friends anymore because they won't leave Twitter. Blue Sky is dry as fuck. I don't get that. See, that's another one where like I hear people say that and I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's dry? It's literally a good time. Let me go on my Blue Sky and see what I find right now. Let's see. Look at this. There's some kind of strange bear. I opened up Blue Sky and the first thing I saw was some kind of strange bear. That's pretty cool. Look at this. The second thing I saw is like a big titty lady with a lute. Try to get close enough so you can see her tits. Look at that. That's cool. That's not dry. If anything, that's wet. What the fuck is this? There's like a giant hand coming out of the ground grabbing a tree trunk or something. That's weird. Definitely not dry. What the fuck is this? Is this look at this man's. His face is all warped and fucky. That's cool. Some people talking about politics. I don't care. Sexually suggestive cartoon. Oh yeah, that is what that is. Not showing that one on screen. Adult content. Oh my god. It's a bunch of 2Bs with giant dicks. It's like 4 giant penised 2Bs standing on a couch, and on the couch is the little twink boy. And then the next shot, they're all fucking him. You know what I mean? The robot kid guy. Kid's probably the wrong word. He's a twink. Here's like a I don't know, is this a Pokemon? Everyone's a kid when you're in your 30s. Okay, here's Batwoman looking sick. This is what I see on Blue Sky. So, I don't know. It seems like a cool place to be. The people on Blue Sky aren't funny usually. Follow the funny people. Just follow the ones that are funny. You can follow Brian Griffin memes on Blue Sky. That's like the funniest account there is. How long until Blue Sky and shitification? I mean, probably immediately, but, you know. I'm just saying, I'm not even trying to say that Blue Sky is, like, great. I'm just trying to say I don't understand being on Twitter and not on Blue Sky. Like, there's no benefit. There are so many drawbacks. Like, I don't see anything worth being on Twitter about when you could be on Blue Sky. Like, if you had to be on one. Twitter just serves me funny shit immediately. What is funny on Twitter? Like, what are you seeing on there that's funny? Because the only time I see Twitter is looking over Bird's shoulder, and it always is like the first thing I see. I'm just like, wow, okay, you know, like, that's a take, or like, is that supposed to be funny? Like, what the fuck, you know, like. Let me see if I can find some funny Blue Skies. I mean, I don't usually I'm not like looking for funny for the most part. So, oh, look, this is funny, you know. The cat who says, I hope I don't get pissed off, and he's about to go to the pissing me off factory. Like, that's a good meme. Look, you got like cute, you know, advice for your art. Do not ask whether your art is good. Instead, ask, is it sincere? Was it cathartic? Was it fun to make? Is it made by me? And don't forget to get silly. Wholesome. Good stuff. Maybe I just want, like, to be in a wholesome world and not a world of, like, a bunch of, like, cynical jokesters or whatever. Trying to see if I can find something funny, but I don't really follow a lot of funny accounts. I usually kind of unfollow people if they're trying too hard to be funny. So, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are funny. Pororin draws in place, says, you remind me of Digibro. Who wants to tell them? Would you ever grind your way back the YouTube algorithm for clout and big bucks? Make the sweaty YouTube optimized video essays, but keep it separate. I'm really not interested. Part of what I've been talking about on this stream is, like, I'm much more an advisory role to other creative people than I am interested in. Like, I don't have ideas I'm trying to get out there. Like, I don't have something I'm passionate about that everyone needs to hear about type shit. Like, I've, like, making the recent Osamu Tezuka videos is the closest to that, because I truly think Tezuka is weirdly undercredited in Western circles for, like, how important he was. I don't know what it's going to take to make people really care, you know, like, but that's, like, the closest I've been to feeling, like, really passionate about a subject. And even then I had comments that were like, this is kind of like a boring generic YouTube video, and I'm like, I don't know, it's the only thing I really thought was interesting or worth talking about, but if y'all don't think this is interesting, then I don't know where to go from there, you know. I've already told all my life stories. I've already, you know, created an entire industry of analysis videos on YouTube that has analyzed everything I could ever want it to analyze. So, you know, I like living a slow life where I go outside all the time more than I like, you know, trying to figure out what's happening online so I can make a video about it. I would much rather help other people manage their shit. Like, I would have never even heard, like, that triangle thing I was talking about that Mint Salad made her video about, the manipulator normie noticer triangle. I had never seen that meme until she showed it to me. Like, Mint, if you look at the description of that video, I'm credited for helping to advise her on that video, because she came to me like, does this make sense? Does my version of it make sense? You know? And so, like, giving her advice on how to do that video to the best of its ability was something I could do. Making that video was not something I could do, because I had no opinion, you know, I'd never seen the meme. I had no opinion of the meme when it was first showed to me. I was just like, oh, that's neat or whatever, you know. But, like, once Mint had made the fully fleshed out video, then I got to appreciate it. I thought it was well made. I got to share it with people, you know, and now I'm seeing it grow very rapidly because YouTube loves it, because it is actually topical. It's in depth. She's passionate about it. You know, it's got lots of original ideas in it. And most of the people who have been watching it are not, like, prior fans or anything. They're just like, oh, cool, new YouTuber to follow, you know? So, like, that gives me more, you know, helping out with something like that gives me more than if I was trying to make, like, if I was cynically going, oh no, I need to make content for my channel. Let me go on Twitter and find something to become interested in. And, oh, what's this triangle thing? I'm sure I could crank out a video about this, you know, like, that doesn't sound like fun the way that what actually happened was fun, you know. Brody says, I'm funny. I don't see you post jokes on Blue Sky. I believe you. I believe that you would have funny blue skis. The stream was just lagging for me out of nowhere. So I'm guessing that you are working on Kusomega again, looking at your link tree. I have had Kusomega on my link tree the whole time. I do intend to finish it, but I am not currently working on it. I have been thinking about it every so often because Bird always insists that that is the thing he wants me to do the most. He's like, out of anything you've ever showed me that you've worked on, Kusomega is by far my favorite because he really likes the power system. And that's like his whole engagement with media basically is like, does it have a cool power system? Okay, then I care. Oh, Funky Freak One Girl who said, I'm not sure if you've been asked this, but have you seen or liked K-pop Demon Hunters? I did talk about it a little bit earlier, and I didn't like it the first time I saw it, but I fell in love with it the second time, which was like 2 days ago. And the only reason I was watching it a second time is because my husband and my brother are starting a show called Whams, weekly anime, manga, music, books, not books, fuck, the B stands for beer. Why would I think they wanted books? Weekly anime, manga, music, beer, and snacks. And it's going to be on my brother's channel, MZ Shaidu, Shaidu. The link is in my link tree. But it's going to be a stream show, and the first anime that they're talking about is K-pop Demon Hunters, which I picked because aside from being really popular and just winning Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards, also lays the groundwork that anime doesn't have to mean from Japan in this case. But yeah, I really liked it the second time. What made me change my mind? I mean, I did a community post about this the other day, so I'll just read that to you. Let me go over to my posts section on my channel. On my first go, I had been alone and on a phone and just checking in to see what it's about. Ended up feeling really cynical about it at the start. I was mad because I already loved Audrey Nuna and Ray Ami, which are two of the singers, and I didn't want to hear them doing generic pop instead of their unique styles. But I was totally wrong. I got used to these songs in other contexts, and then hearing them in the context of the story again, I found them a lot more inspiring, especially the last song. Holy cow, I had slept on that. I had also kind of written off the whole thing as being Powerpuff Girls meets Metalocalypse the first time, but when I actually locked into the story this time, it paid off. Right after they debut Golden, the movie gets way funnier. The scene introducing the Saja Boys is priceless. And once it got me laughing, it opened my heart to realizing that the Genu plotline is actually interesting, and he is probably the best character in the film. And I'm also sure that part of it is that I recently went through a personal arc not unlike Rumi, the main character, even including the reclamation of my singing voice, because quitting weed has made me just way better at singing. And the lyrics in the climactic song really hit me in the feels this time. Overall, a great film that I'm glad to have given a second chance when I didn't even intend to. Next time I'm wrong about a movie like this, please bully me into giving it another shot. That's what I wrote in my posts page. Yeah, always make sure you check that their posts page if you don't watch on mobile. I hate that YouTube doesn't just like put community posts in the subscription feed on desktop. Like if you're on mobile, they're just there, but if you're on desktop, they're not. I don't get it. It's stupid. But whatever. Will Evangelion anime ever end? No. There's no reason they would ever do that. What's your favorite anime that has girl with telepathic powers that's not Zettai Karen children? Can I even think of one? There's so many anime where guys have psychic powers. I can't really think of one where it's girls doing psychic powers. Can't think of one off the top of my head. It's a shame they're going to be doing that shit on like Monday morning for me. True. But it will be cut into pieces and released throughout the week, so probably those will be the version that you'll end up seeing. The more adult responsible way to consume the media than to watch a live stream all night on Sunday. What do you think of LARPing in 2026? I've never done it. I've never done a LARP. I've always, when I was a kid, I super wanted to, but it seemed like expensive to get into. Is Isekai Slop anime bubbles gonna pop soon? You'll have to watch No Thank You's video that he was talking about Isekai. As far as I'm concerned, it already did because I'm not watching any of it. So Ryan9 says, "Hi Trixie, are we chatting about the projects we are working on?" We are, at least in as much as people have told me about them, and we've given some advice to some people here. But yeah, I am curious. I have to pee again, so I'll be right back. And I am back. My question is if most of the Isekai Slap is even all that popular or successful anymore. I think it is. I mean, ReZero is coming back next season, and Mushoku Tensei is coming back the season after that. And they're both still like the most anticipated shows according to my anime list of those seasons. You say you don't flush so we won't hear it, but you know we can hear you pissing, right? That is so crazy. I know my mic volume is turned up pretty high, but it's wild that you can hear that. I mean, the bathroom is literally right there. Like, the door to the bathroom is 5 feet from my hand, so I guess it's not that crazy, but it's not so much about you not being able to hear the flush as that you will hear the sound of the toilet refilling for like a solid minute. And that will distract me a lot, and that would be annoying. I don't think I would count Lane as psychic, but I guess you could kind of see it that way. Yeah, I'm glad that Isekai hasn't fully died yet because I can still finish Kusomega and it will still feel relevant to culture and not like when do you flush? When I'm not on stream? I was so in love with K-pop Demon Hunters that I showed my husband and he loved it. Were you ever a Welcome to the NHK fan? I was. Way back when I was in high school, and I was a borderline hikikomori. I connected with it pretty heavily, and I also read the light novel and enjoyed it. But yeah, I think I'd have a hard time connecting with it today, considering I go outside like all the time, and I would just feel sad for Sato, you know. Damn, damn, damn. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You bite the fry bites back, my man. Damn, damn, damn. If you rewatched Ava again, would you still hate Shinji? I don't hate Shinji. I've never hated Shinji. I don't know if you're confusing me with my husband Bird. He hates Shinji. Shinji was literally me when I was 14. Have I ever given K-pop a chance, as in the genre itself? Um, you know, like when you're really baked and you watch a K-pop video, it's like the most mind-blowing thing you'll ever see. It's just like non-stop fucking colors and crazy effects and stuff. That type of music doesn't generally appeal to me. It all kind of sounds the same to me. That was why, like I was saying, like I was so cynical about K-pop Demon Hunters the first time I watched it, because like Audrey Nuna and Ray Ami are both artists I really like their music. Like they don't make pop music like that. They make, I mean, it's like somewhat pop oriented hip hop music, but like both of them are very unique artists, you know, like Audrey Nuna's album Trench from 2024 had some of like my favorite singles from that year on it. Ray Ami makes like really hard, heavy, like, you know, like heavy rap, you know, in the vein of like a Denzel Curry or something. Like her voice isn't like that. Like she actually raps in like a very soft spoken voice, but over like the heaviest, hardest beats, you know. And so yeah, I it's not that they don't make sense in the roles of the movie, but like they are not K-pop artists, you know. Like neither one of them is a K-pop artist. So it was really funny to me that they ended up being the voices, the singing voices of the characters in that movie, doing like pretty generic sounding K-pop. But like aside from it being generic, contextually to the film, it is good. Like it's good because it tells the story and fits the characters, and the movie is kind of built around the songs in a way, you know, like so ignoring them as like, oh, is this a song I personally like? I think they are good for the movie, you know. And also, like, I didn't care about Golden at all the first time I heard it, but then Bird got really into it and played it a whole lot, and eventually I was like, you know what, this song actually is pretty great. Like, it's hard for me to knock that hook, the melody on the hook, you know, the do 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 do, like that's just a really solid melody. Have I tried K hip hop? I've heard some of it, but I think they need a Korean artist that can sing and rap in fluent English. Yeah, that was definitely what I think they were going for. Because that's what's interesting about that movie to me, is that it's not like a Korean film as much as it is a Korean American film. You know, like, and that aspect of it is pretty interesting, but also not something I could go that in depth on because I am not Korean and I don't listen to a lot of Korean stuff or know Korean culture that well. So like, it's definitely not a movie I would ever try to make an analysis video on. I would be out of my depth. Not in a position to properly contextualize, to use the phrasing of the company man. Gary always says ghosted. What ghosted? What is ghosted? Did I go ghost? Golden is a vocal achievement. It is. That's another thing. Like, I hadn't really tried to sing it, you know, until having heard it more times, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I appreciate this is a tough song, you know. Like, there's a reason that she loses her voice on those particular high notes, you know, like in the movie. I don't even think I can hit those three notes that she struggles with in the film. Internet Weirdo says it's so funny. I actually fucking loved Golden when I first heard it. Every time that song comes on, I think that I'm hearing "Runaway with Me" by Carly Rae Jepsen. Because even though the Carly Rae Jepsen song opens with like these epic horns, so you would definitely know if it was that song. Right after the epic horns, it's like the exact same beat and a very similar melody to Golden. So like I'll hear the start of Golden, and in my head I'm thinking, stuck in my head, stuck in my heart, stuck in my body. I went away with you. Ooh. But then you get to the chorus and it's a totally different song. And now you're all gonna hear it that way too. I'd love to be working on my creative projects, but I fear I don't know how to fit in between napping, work assignments, and Trixie videos. At the same time, complaining like this makes me sick. Well, the good thing about my videos is you don't really got to look at them. So if you're working on anything that's, well, even if you were listening, like I all the time just like play music over videos and stuff, you know, like I'm prone to consume things in a chaotic fashion where like it isn't, if Bird was around, it is not uncommon that in his desk is directly next to mine, right? So he'll be at his desk and he's playing like a loud video game like Borderlands 4, and he's watching a YouTube video on his phone out loud, and at the same time I'm also watching a YouTube video on my computer out loud and typing in Discord and possibly also like playing my own music or something. Like there will literally be 5 overlapping sound sources in this room at a given time. I don't know if a lot of people could handle that, but that's just the way we do it around here. Have you ever liked or listened to Mitski? I have not listened to Mitski. I've definitely seen that name. I feel like you're the second person to ask me about them recently, but I don't know what they're like. Ooh, something every pop song is the same key and etc. True. Who else? Every time you hear a song from the 4-chord song by Axis of Awesome, you then continue it. Like if I'm out in public and I hear, let's say, you know, pictures of you, pictures of me hung up on your wall for the world to see, 'cause I can't live with or without you. Whenever I fall at your feet, am I not pretty enough? You know, the 4-chord song. If you've never heard Axis of Awesome 4-chord song, go check that out, and then you'll never unhear all those songs as being the same song running into each other. Yo, what's up, Icky Sticky Mars? Tell us about what you're working on. If you got something that you need help. I'm trying to give advice to everybody about how to work on their thing or otherwise promote it. If you got something you want everybody to know, you got to see this thing that I've done. Witness me! Now I've got fucking Golden stuck in my head, but I don't know the lyrics. What do I think about Resident Evil? I think you should watch Gigadonk's videos about Resident Evil. She did a whole video about her feelings on all of the games up to 9. I think it's called Resident Evil Sucks and I Love It or something like that. And then she also streamed herself playing all of Resident Evil 9. And that was very fun. I sat in for a bunch of those streams. It was like 4 streams, but I sat in for a bunch of the time. And it looks cool. I mean, Resident Evil 9. Actually, what shocked me the most about watching that game is how good the cutscenes are. Like, how well directed they are. Some of the, like, best, like, paced and edited cutscenes I've ever seen in a video game. So that really shocked me, and, you know, it seemed like the game was fun. I've only really played Resident Evil 4, which I beat and is amazing. I don't think that's a shock to anybody that Resident Evil 4 is amazing. I've played like a few hours of 1 on PC, and it was dope. and then I played like an hour of 6 and really hated it. I was tricked into trying 6 by people who love it and keep insisting that it's worthwhile. I could not. Really hated it. But I think that's all the ones I've actually played. But Gigadonk, she done beat them all, so watch her video about it. You'll get a lot of depth. I like how you're all figuring out that Run Away With Me and Golden do sound incredibly similar. You're working on a big long documentary. Oh, that sounds badass. Is it something that you're trying to keep under wraps, or do you want to say anything to get people excited about it? Working on a huge project is like the worst nightmare when you're in the thick of it, and then like the best feeling in the world when you're done with it, because you'll remember forever that you did that. Like you'll always be able to be like, wow, I really overcame something. Like I really fucking like, it's funny, people will often compare it to like climbing a mountain, but climbing a mountain takes like a day. It's not actually that. Climbing a mountain's not that tough. Making a fucking documentary is tough. It's a concert movie / behind the scenes of a music video shoot. Yeah, that sounds like it could be incredibly cool. Shaping up to be like 2 hours. Damn. I do not envy you having to edit a 2-hour documentary. I am so averse to having to make a long project. Sarah says, oh yeah, the album has officially reached 2/3 completion. It'll probably be done within the next few months. Fuck yes. Let's go. Yeah, I can't even imagine spending more than like, at the absolute most, 2 weeks. Beyond that point, I am like thoroughly fucking sick of whatever I'm working on. Like I think the Samus versus Samus audiobook took like a week and a half to write, and then another week or so to edit the one video I've done from it. And like by the end of that, I was like, okay, this needs to be like, I'm not making the next video for a while. Like there's no way. I cannot keep working on this fucking project. I just get too upset with the fact that I'm still doing it. And that's why I don't tend to make a lot of big projects. But like I've been saying all throughout this stream, this is why I much prefer to help other people do their thing. I'm great at encouraging people, helping them to get past roadblocks, helping them to solve logistical problems, helping them to make plans. I am not good at actually doing something myself and like staying enthusiastic about it. So, I feel like I'm a better assistant than I am a creator in my own right. But it's a scary either one is scary in its own ways. But like when you're doing stuff entirely by yourself, it's like, well, whether this succeeds or fails is all on me. And that is a lot easier for me to deal with than like the feeling of, oh, I tried to help and it still failed, So that's why I wasn't trying to do this type of stuff before. But now I feel like, I don't know, I'm old and confident, and everyone I know is like way more depressed than me. So I think a big part of this is also just like, I want to help people get to a place where they're happier with whatever they're doing. Because I'm like very satisfied and contented with my life. And so I feel like, I have the emotional space to let other people come to me with their problems and just be very matter of fact about it. Because like, it's not going to get me down, like I'm going to be fine. It's just a question of, can I help you to be fine, And I'm also not going to like beat myself up about it if I can't really help, There's only so much I can do, but I feel like I don't know anybody who seems, just based on the way people talk about their lives, I don't know anybody who seems as self-satisfied as I am. So I feel like that is my superpower that I could bring to other people, is like, hey, if you need somebody to just be totally confident in what you're doing and it's not you, let me help. I can bring you the confidence you need to finish the fucking thing. Z Cypher said, I'm still trapped in the past. I need to get YouTube Premium for that sweet 4 times playback speed again. Yeah, it is pretty cool. It is kind of whack that you don't innately have that, but figuring out I could speed up to 3 or 4x was pretty cool. Because I do have YouTube Premium. The album Sarah's working on is pronounced Sleepy Face. And it's tilde_tilde. Pronounced Sleepy Face. Stuff is difficult because I need to be in the right headspace to make a track, and the tracks are 7 to 15 minutes long each, so it's been very slow going. But patience is the name of the game with regards to ambient music. That is absolutely true. Yeah. Again, like, the thought of making a song that is 7 to 15 minutes and actually has intent behind it is daunting to me. Like, you go through my discography and, like, the average song length is like 2.5 minutes. I've done some 5-minute songs and they took some fucking doing. If you were to restart your content journey from the beginning, what would you do different or change? Oh, man. I would not do anything publicly. Ever. I don't know. I don't like to play in the realm of, what's it called? What are those called? Figurative situations. There's a word for this. What is the word for figurative situations? God damn it. Hypotheticals. Thank you. Fuck me. I don't know why that word wasn't in my brain. Yeah, I don't like to play in the realm of hypotheticals. Like, I just think it's pointless, like, to fixate on anything that's not just the way it is. Like, I don't think I had that much control over how things ended up, because I don't know how I would have, like, if you ask me, like, what would you have done differently? Well, my situation would have had to have been different, like, I would have had to have been a different person in a different situation for things to have gone any differently. So I tend to focus more on, like, well, where am I now and where can I take myself from there, like, so, like, when it comes to restarting my content journey, it's like, I can't really imagine how it would have gone well in a different way, like, but there was too much I didn't know. Like, if I went back in time with what I know now, I wouldn't be me from back then. I would be me from now. It would be like a time travel situation, So, like, I just simply would be such a different person that it would be, it's, I don't know how to work through that hypothetical. Again, this is why I hate hypotheticals, because you're really reimagining the whole universe, like, if you do that, you're changing everything. You're butterflying the timeline, butterfly affecting it, which, as a golden butterfly, may be a special skill of mine, but I hear a truck, a big truck. 1 minute 30 type songs annoy me sometimes because they just end the second I really get into it. I could see that. A lot of my shorter songs are very, like, they just leap into starting. Like, I don't like to put any kind of intro on my songs. Like, it's pretty much just right off the bat, you're in it, and so they tend to be, I tend to find that my music gets exhausting if it lasts more than 1.5 to 2.5 minutes, like, it's so much, it's so intense that, like, I feel like I need a breather by the end of it. But maybe that's just me. A lot of people like to get lost in a song, and I like to just fucking have it all just come out at once, I like my projects short and sweet and to the point. Nothing but catharsis, you know? All right, I'm starting to get tired of being on stream. I've been going for close to 3 hours. I want to sing something. I don't know the words to Golden well enough. Nor do I know the words to Run Away With Me well enough. I sang Coheed and Cambria at the start of the stream. I like your shorter work, but Fat and Dangerous is a baller song. True. And that is still a pretty short song. I don't even think it's 3 minutes long. Let me look that up, actually, because I'm curious exactly. It is one of the more fleshed out songs in the sense that the chorus repeats like 3 whole times. But I also find that I tend to be like over it by the end of it. 3 minutes, 2 seconds. So yeah, it's like just at the 3-minute mark. Body Rolls being 5 minutes is one of the longest songs I've got, and that one is just because the hook is like a whole minute long and plays 3 times. And you know, I do have some longer songs that are on the experimental side, but usually it's just because it's something that's looped, like a long looping thing, but not usually like a fully written out, you know, experience. Looking at some of my songs, see which. Worcestershire Station is the most recent song I did that was like 4 minutes 20 seconds and like feels it, you know, it feels like a full song. A pop length, but only just, yeah. And I always think of like song length by way of Linkin Park, because that was the first album that I really paid attention to the fact that like every song was right in between like 2 minutes 45 and 3 minutes 45, you know, like no song really went over or under this like verse chorus verse, you know, chorus bridge chorus like structure. And so in my head, that is like the rubric of if you're structuring a song and you want it to hit, you do Linkin Park, and anything outside of that is experimental. Maybe I should sing a Linkin Park song. What's that one that's like, you've become a part of me, you'll always be right here. I don't want to do that one. Let's see. Looking over the Linkin Park songs. Maybe I do want to do that one. Why can't I remember what that song is called? Is that Figure 09? Yeah, that's Figure 09. Okay. No, I'm gonna feel really corny actually, like doing Linkin Park without a backing track. Okay, something else. What should I sing, y'all? Tell me what I should sing. Tell me what to sing. Can anybody find me some kind of song to sing? Evangelion, like the opening theme, or like Kam Suser Todd? That's 2 votes for Cruel Angel's Thesis. Alright, we're doing Cruel Angel's Thesis, I guess. Bring up the lyrics to make sure I don't fuck them up. Oh wait, I skipped the whole intro bit. 残酷な天使のように少年よ神話になれ。I already did that. 青い風が今胸のドアを叩いても私だけをただ見つめて微笑んでるMy voice is not right for this. I don't want to sing this. It doesn't feel right in my throat right now. 運命さえ No, I'm not doing that. Something else. I need something in a lower register. My voice is not prepared to sing high up after speaking for 3 straight hours. Let me think. I need something down here. Ooh, baby. Keep on rolling. What if I did Limp Bizkit? What if I did Slipknot with no backing track? Hallelujah. Absolutely not. I would pass out trying to sing that shit. Lowrider. I don't actually know the words to that. Sing some 9 Inch Nails? Oh, do I actually know the lyrics to a 9 Inch Nails song? Head like a hole, black as your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Do the Family Guy theme? It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV. But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? Lucky there's a Family Guy. Lucky there's a man who positively can't do all the things that make us laugh and cry. He's our Family Guy. How's that? That felt like it was not terrible. Yeah, ticket prices are completely fucking out of control. Let's see. Is there a 9 Inch Nails song I know the words to? Besides, you let me violate you. Help me! I don't want to do that one. I was up above it. Now I'm down in it. Oh yeah, Wish. I remember this one. This is the first day of my last days. Build it up, now take it apart. Climbed up real high, now fall down real far. No need for me to stay. The last thing left, I just threw it away. Put my faith in God and my trust in you. Now there's nothing more fucked up I could do. Wish there was something real. Wish there was something true. Wish there was something real, and that's where I follow you. There's too much boom, 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 booms in that for me to want to sing the whole thing. But that's my favorite Nine Inch Nails song, I think. Sing the Road to Rhode Island. Oh, I can't fucking remember it. She's in love with herself. She likes the dark. And on her milk-white neck, the devil's mark. Now it's All Hallows Eve. The moon is full. And will she trick or treat? I bet she will. She will! What if I did a Tool song? I feel like I've got the right range for a Tool song. Let's go with... The fuck is that song called? This Body. We'll do that one. Come on, load up, you son of a fucking bitch. Genius.com. Load for me. I need to sing Parabole and Parabola. Okay, I got you. I got it. I have it. So familiar and overwhelmingly warm. This one is for my old now. Embracing you, this reality. This one is for my old now. So wide-eyed and hopeful. Wide-eyed and hopefully, while we barely remember what came before this precious moment, choosing to be here right now. Hold on, stay inside this body, holding me, reminding me that I am not alone in this body. Makes me feel eternal. All this pain is an illusion. We barely remember what came before this precious moment. We are choosing to be here right now. Hold on, stay inside this holy holy reality here. This holy experience, choosing to be here in this body holding me, be my reminder here that I am not alone in this body holding me, feeling eternal. All this pain is an illusion. Alive in this holy reality here, in this holy experience, we're choosing to be here in this body holding me, be my reminder here that I am not alone in this body holding me, feeling eternal. All this pain is an illusion. Twirling round with this familiar parable, spinning, weaving round each new experience. Recognize this as a holy gift and celebrate this chance to be alive and breathing. A chance to be alive and breathing. This body holding me reminds me of my own mortality. Embrace this moment. Remember, we are eternal. All this pain is an illusion. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Thanks for coming out, everybody.